lanes, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Welcome back. Welcome back. We are here with Ready to Love, Make a Move, the final word reunion. Guys, yes. What are you thinking? Did you love this episode? Are there still questions? Will they come back for another season? What say you, ye panelists? Sean, what's going on? What do you think?
I'm like Cam. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad
Oh,
it's
no,
over.
you didn't. No, you
Whether they
didn't.
will come back or not, I don't know.
Okay.
I think they need a little retweaking before they can come back.
A little tweaking of it. Okay. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I got some questions. What are you saying down there, Mr. VIP? Welcome in. What's going on with you?
Yeah, good evening. I think it's a pilot. It's something that I think was a taster. You know, they wanted to really give the women the power on the show to take more control over the selection and dating process. And was it a success? I'm not sure, because we didn't see. We only saw one potential couple, and even they have my doubts about that. So I'm not sure if it was really successful. But for viewership, we may get another one. We'll see. Let's discuss.
Yeah. I mean, what if, and we talked about this before, because I gave Ron as one of my guys that I'd like to see come back. What if they switch the formula around to simply make it the men coming into whatever particular city, to a new city, and they're all staying together in a house? And what if the men were in charge? Would that be, you think that'd be more to your liking, or what?
Nah, I think too many narratives will be created, and there'll be too many people getting
not
triggered.
really. I mean, yeah.
Go ahead. JR, you had the floor, and
Yeah,
then we'll go back.
I was going to say, yeah, too many women will get triggered by some of the way the men may have preferences, or the way that they eliminate or go about their dating styles. It's too easy for men to be called players and unintentional and abusers and all these different buzzwords that they'll use. So I don't think it's a good idea to have a men's version. Yeah. Absolutely not.
I don't know about that. Why would we call the men abusers when men are doing what men do, which is generally, at least in the traditional sense, we think of men as being the pursuer in the dating market. Why would we give them that bad name? I wouldn't give them a bad name.
The thing is, you said it right there, that word traditional. A lot of ladies expect a traditional man, but they're modern women. So there creates a huge problem in the way the dating process is going to go.
Okay, and we said we would come back, and Sean, you would tell us what your feelings were about the men being leaders, men being in the role next time around when they bring it back.
Well, I mean, I think just like what JR said, I think I don't think the women will be acceptable of men dating multiple women as opposed to women dating multiple men. And I think you will see more, quote unquote, excuse my expression, I think you'll see more cattiness out of the women if, because, it'll be more misunderstandings between the women if one guy's dating two of the women on the show at the same time. Because I think more feelings will get involved in it. And it will make too much of an emotional show as opposed to the current dynamic where women date multiple men.
Interesting thoughts.
I'm not
Interesting.
being sexist, but I just that's just the way I see it.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no! I was, and to be honest too. I was kind of hemming and a little concerned. Just what was going on in the chat, not so much what you had said. My attention was averted. I'm sorry. What did you say again? I'm sorry, Sean. Were you saying that you think that the men would be in trouble, like Jr. is
I
saying?
agree. I agree. I'm saying I agree with Jr.
Oh, what you agree with Jr. What?
I think because I don't think it would be understandable. I don't think it would be understandable for a lot of the women to understand that one man is dating those two women at the same time. If the dynamics were the women pursuing the men, and then of course with the same language, hey look, I'm going in a different direction. I don't think the women will be able to handle that as well as the men perceive to have been handling it this season with the women telling the man, hey, I'm going in a different direction. I don't think it would be that I don't think it would fit too well settle too well with the women. I'll put it that way.
Okay. I guess you have a point. Both of you gentlemen. I don't quite, because my thing is to what you're both saying though is basically then what about our Ready to Love, the original show? Nobody's saying that about those guys, or are they?
We had a couple of incidents where you
Well,
have
that's
had,
seen as more of a contest.
yeah, it's a different setting altogether, but we have had incidents where um, some of the guys have got into clashes, which have resulted in them being completely trashed. And you can go from Samson to what's his name, Mister $35 million portfolio, Zoe. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the Kia situation with Eric. Um, you know,
Hmm.
and then even more than that, you've got the Rashids and Simone situation as well. So yeah,
Mm.
it's unfortunately there's too many ways to step into traps if they did the show the other way.
Hmm.
There's a double standard in dating, and there's a double standard in life between men and women. And there's certain things that women can
That's
do
true.
that if men did the same thing, men will get called out on it. And there's certain things that men do that women don't like, but if they do the same thing, they expect to be given grace for it. So, I don't think it's going to work the other way.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think our chat is really kind of getting involved in it. Um, Let me see if you guys in the chat drop a one if you would really like to see the show come back. Maybe some changes, some slight changes, or maybe some larger changes. But you kind of enjoyed the format and you think they're onto something. Drop a one in the chat if you want Ready to Love, Make a Move to come back again. Of course, different castmates. Drop a two if you don't care if you ever see anything like Ready to Love, Make a Move ever again on OWN. Drop a one if you're for Ready to Love, Make a Move. Drop a two if you are, nah, not really feeling it. Drop those in the chat and let me see what you guys are saying. Let's see. We've got Favorite T says, bring it back, bring it back. Sherlock Mindset says, bring it back. They enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. And Straight Talk is saying, I'm sorry, I thought I hit that. Straight Talk is saying, bring it back. Monique, you always give on a hard time. She's saying, what? Two is no, Monique. I'm not sure what you're saying,
Yeah.
but two is a
Listen,
no.
believe what she said. She said two. She said two.
No, but my other moderator, who has her own opinion, she says one. So far, there's more ones than two. So I mean, we're already winning with the ones. Darika says, "Oh, I thought that was a one." Darika. Oh yeah, she says one with men. Yeah, there you go. See, there's more ones than twos. Go ahead if you're for Ready to Move, Ready to Love, Make a Move. Put a one in the chat.
Okay.
If you say no, put a two. Right?
You know what? We're going to, as we get into this reunion, like both of them, as we discuss them, you're going to ask the same question at the end. That's
I
what I'll
will.
say.
Okay, because yeah, I got another question, but I'll bring that one back up. You're right. We'll have more people probably in the chat by then. I will absolutely re-ask that question. Okay. What is LMV? She says, I don't think the first group of women were good fits for this show. They haven't learned from their experiences on the original season of
I
Ready to
agree.
Love. Some good points there. Some good points. But I say don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. Change the bathwater. Don't throw the baby away. And then
Bathwater is getting changed next week when we're back to the original Ready to Love.
exactly. And Sherlock says, one, just because so many life lessons. Thank you. Somebody gets it. Where's my bell? Where's my bell? Somebody got it. There are lessons, even if these people, even if the castmates don't get the lessons, those of us who are out here watching, the viewers and the bloggers, we're catching on to some stuff that we might even be guilty of doing in our dating lives and in the past or in currently. Straight Talk says bring cast members of either gender who aren't still healing from previous bad relationships. Yes. So you want, in other words, Straight Talk, you're saying bring in those that have healed and have grown since they last appeared on Ready to Love. That's a great point. That's a great point. Um, LMV says, yeah, change the bath water. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is interesting. Monique, sassy Monique says, bring on Rashid, Joel, Angry Alonzo, and Dante, and I'll oh my goodness, that's hilarious. You know, those are some interesting takes
I would
right
put
there.
Alex up there. Put Alex up there.
Which one?
Put
Oh,
Alex up
oh,
there.
Alex. Oh, yeah,
Alex.
I can't breathe anymore. I'm hollering over here. Yeah, LV says, yeah, bring
I think
Alonzo.
then you
Oh,
got to
so
have the straight laced
yeah.
brother. Put brother Phil up there. Put brother Phil up there. Phil from
E-
DC.
Exactly, Dorica. It would be a huge mess. All those, I don't even know if Zoe, I don't even know if he could be in a house with three other men. He seems like he's too machismo to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just my thinking, but I don't think he could stand to be around other guys. You know how, like we
He,
always say, there are some women that don't like other women. Like Cherie seemed to have, she seemed to struggle this season with being around the other ladies. I think Zoe would be the same way. I really, really do. Oh yeah, wait a minute. Bring back Febreze. Yeah, that's it.
Fabrice.
nah, he's done with this. He's done with the whole channel, the whole network. He's never coming back.
He
Forget
ain't
that.
never coming back. He's over in
No,
France saying wee wee wee.
exactly.
Yeah,
All
He's
right.
over in
yeah.
France,
He
Pepe Le
said, "I like
Pew,
to
and
have happy time. I like to
what
have
have you.
happy time.
He's having a
I like to
hot and
have happy
heavy
time with
time.
everyone. Happy time. Hot and heavy time. Hot and heavy
Okay.
time."
Okay, guys. Happy New Year if I haven't
I
already
did not
said
know
it.
that was the rules of the show.
Right, right. Thanks for hanging with us and coming back to us. We were off for a little while, just needed that break and that respite, okay? But thank you for your thoughts and prayers. Those of you that reached out to me, I got flowers, I got prayers, and I thank you for those that pray for me that I don't even know that pray for me. I thank you for that. I appreciate it. So anyway, so we on to this season. So we pick up where the Ready to Love Make a Move reunion left off last week, with Charisse screaming at Ashley saying, I don't need a breather. I just need to be me. I don't need a breather. And the host tells them all to take a breath. What do you think about that scenario, Sean? We'll start with you.
Well, I mean, Sharice goes from, we've seen her on this episode go from 0 to 100 multiple times. And I think she was just being in character as she normally is. And I don't think this is anything outside of her personality.
Right.
I think
What
this
do
is who
you
she
think?
is.
Okay, that's a good point. That's fair. What do you think that what it was that triggered her to jump up and just say she couldn't take it anymore? What do you suspect it was?
Well, it could be a combination of things from her past, her childhood that she has not dealt with because she claims she was bullied in childhood and has not healed from that. And it could have seemed like maybe in her mind it was like three against one. It was Zadia, then it was Ashley, and then it was Venetia. And I got all this thing, all y'all against me, and so I'm gonna fight back. That's the only way she could do. fight or flight response, and I think her response was to fight, not flight. You know? So
Mm, Lord have mercy. People adding Habibi to the list to come back. Oh Lord. Very good. Thank you for that,
play
Sean.
saxophone.
He could play a saxophone. Very good. Uh, Mr. VIP, what are your thoughts? Why did Sharice get so emotional?
Because that's how she is. Like that's actually what she does. I think she has a tendency to go from 0 to 100 very quickly, sometimes from instigator to victim very quickly. Um, and she felt like, I mean, the interesting thing that I took is that they were actually listening to Zadia explain why she felt like Sharice was bullying her. And then all of a sudden, Sharice started to interject and wanted to shut Zadia down. And then she felt ganged up on when she said, you know, I felt bullied in the house or whatever. And then Venetia's first said, I didn't bully you. And then Ashley joined in and said, nah, we stayed out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sharice just went off. And then Ashley and Sharice had this, you know, this energy between them, which we've seen from both, but obviously more Sharice at times. I don't know what it stems from. Everybody has their own life story.
Yeah, that
Some
triggers.
people experience different traumas or have different experiences that have affected the way they grow into adults and stuff.
Okay.
But you have to, as an adult, take control. And if you realize that there's an issue there, then you have to resolve that. You can't automatically go into group settings or relationships and act out from those previous experiences on people that didn't cause them. And until you do that, you are prone to keep having these lapses where you will fly off into rages or disrespect people, or, you know. And your comment earlier about Sharice, you know, having things to say about other women and not getting on with them in the house. She also
Yeah.
said on this part too that, you know, this is why she doesn't do women. This is why she doesn't keep women as friends,
Yeah.
because of the type of drama that comes with it. So
Yeah. That was a little troubling for me because for me as a woman, I find that that is just like anything else for the most part. It's the women and the friends that you pick to be around you. So now certainly in this case with the castmates, she didn't have a choice in the women being in the house with her, which ones she didn't get to pick them, right? But my MO is that if I see I don't get along with a person, they're always rubbing me the wrong way. They seem like they don't like me, then I sidestep them, and I don't see what's so difficult about that. I don't think that I would have allowed Ashley to trigger me. Although when I look at that scene over and over again, JR, to your point, when I look at the scene with Ashley and Sharice, Ashley does seem to be very animated, very hype,
of
and
course,
I didn't like her energy. I personally did not like her energy, and I could understand Sharice saying in the moment, one of the things that she said to them, I can't do this right now with her sitting next to me, behaving like this, talking like this. In other words, basically screaming. And she's
right.
right. I wouldn't want to be sitting next to someone at a reunion and this person is hollering, even though they say they're doing it to defend me. I don't trust that coming out of Ashley's mouth. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't trust
Yeah,
that coming out of Ashley's mouth.
yeah. No, I see what you're saying, but who wants to sit next to someone who goes from 0 to 100 real quick as well? And in the house, they seem to get on very well, right? It's only on
They
the reunion now.
they do.
You know, Sharice was trying to, first of all, like I said, she was over talking Zadia to try and get her point across. And then when she felt like she was being muted or attacked for her position, then that's when she went crazy, right? But she tried to involve the other ladies in it. That's what happened. Like she said, I felt bullied in the house at times or whatever. And the other ladies were like, nah, we didn't bully you. We stayed out of it. You know, we didn't
Yeah.
take sides. So what are you talking about? And that made that probably inflamed the emotion at that time because Charisse felt like her position was being doubted or undermined, right? So, but at the end of the day, very hostile situation. Ashley does seem to have that extra energy. Like she gets loud. We see that over and over again. Um, so just like Zadia and Charisse are combustible elements at times,
Mm-hmm.
so is Ashley, so is Venetia, but they all different. They all do it in a different way. And it's not a good recipe for harmony because these ain't the harmonious types from what we've seen.
Right, right, right. But Ashley, the thing about it though, too, and this,
Well,
again,
okay.
and I know you guys, any of you that have been following us so far this season, you guys already know, and I admitted to be transparent that I've got a fondness for Cherise. She's got a little small part of my heart. Okay, I kind of feel like I get her. I don't agree or condone with everything that she does. Don't get it twisted. But Ashley was talking to Sharice and she was all ramped up. And it seems to me that it happened at the moment when Sharice basically said that she felt that she was ganged up on.
Yeah.
And Venetia chimed in, but
Mhm.
Venetia's on the other side of the room, to be fair. She's not right up in Sharice's face. Ashley really chimed in very loudly. And what I feel is that Sharice, maybe her perception was that she was somewhat ganged up on or that she wasn't equally liked. I think that's really more what she was trying to say, that she wasn't equally liked, let's say, like as much as Zadia was. Zadia was more, had a more of a camaraderie probably with the other two ladies. And that's for a reason. That's for a very good reason because Zadia was more, she was more woman friendly, if you will, right? So
Exactly.
I get that sometimes what happens with all of us or any of us at any given moment, depending on what our triggers are, sometimes what we perceive to be the truth is really only a mere perception and is not actually based in fact. That's what I want to say. But my point, getting back to Ashley, is Ashley was just as usual with the nails and the hands and the waving. She was just doing too much. Like what? Why? Why are you doing all of this?
Because that's how she is. That's what we've seen the whole time.
Well,
She's very expressive. She brings a I guess a humorous aspect to her personality. She seems like she can be funny,
Hmm.
outgoing, but she's very extra. Hand
And the
gestures, all of that, and she can go nuts too. All right.
Yeah, she can definitely
Um,
go from 0 to
but I
yeah.
think the difference is Zadia is much more of a Zadia can control her temper a lot more. She's a lot more. I can pick on you and start on you and take jabs at you, and I
Mhm.
can smile it off and not get too amped up. Whereas I feel like Ashley and Charisse get more emotionally invested in it, and it fuels their hostility to a degree. So all I'll say is, you're right. Everybody has a breaking point or a tipping point, but I think that sometimes it's been shown that Charisse and Ashley can be too temperamental at times, very volatile,
Mhm.
too thin-skinned. People should be able to express their point just like you can,
Yeah,
and you have to respect what they're saying. And
right.
then, because this is what the hosts were saying. Let Zadia get her thoughts out, and then you can say your piece too. And Sharice didn't want to do that. She tried to shut it all down. And
You're
that's a
right.
power play that backfired because now no one wants to hear you either because you're
Yeah,
you're going off too.
you're right. Crucial conversations require that someone listens and someone speaks. And then when I say listen, you actually listen, not just hear the words and prepare to fight back, but that you hear the words, receive them, and maybe take a moment to process them. Oh, go ahead, Sean. And welcome in real quick. Welcome in, Calvin.
My pleasure. God bless.
Happy
God
New
bless.
Year.
Happy New
welcome,
Year.
Calvin. How you doing? Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Thank
let's step outside this circle a little bit. Could it have well been with Sharice feeling ganged up on? All four women, but could it have been, once again, I know we played this narrative before, but could it have been the colorism issue?
Mhm.
You have three brown skinned women and one visibly lighter skinned woman.
Mhm.
And this quote unquote sisterhood, she might have felt outside of quote unquote this sisterhood because she's much lighter than they are. Could it that
Mhm.
psychologically have played a dynamic, do you think, in that within her dealings with the women?
Mhm.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I'm glad you brought that up too. I was thinking about that, and maybe again, to be transparent about my own personal life. So I have a daughter who's biracial, very fair skinned. Sometimes people, when they don't know her, they think she's Latina or uh, possibly Italian or whatever, they other than black, right? But she's a
Mhm.
light-skinned black woman with long wavy hair, right? So I can relate to Charisse because having traveled with my daughter when she was younger with basketball for many years and with track, because she was an athlete. Um, the the response from some other black girls at that time toward my daughter sometimes was based on her complexion. Well, what about this or what about that? My daughter didn't tend to get bullied because I think her personality and her demeanor, and she's fearless. I think those things kind of helped her because I think people that get bullied, it tends to be the bully can see in you that there's a weakness that you're not going to fight back. My daughter is not that
Mhm.
gal. You don't want to mess with her because she ain't putting up with it. She's not taking
Mhm.
your smoke without giving it right back to you. But yeah, but to your point, yeah, I think that there could have been I think, but here's my thing though. I think it's more in my feeling, my honest two things. I think that Zadia, who we've seen on shout out to Crystal XO. We've seen her interview and she talks in depth about this
Mhm.
issue of colorism. I think
Mhm.
that sure, Zadia has experienced a certain amount of colorism, and according to Charisse, also shout out again to Crystal XO. Charisse claims that Zadia came to her and said a number of different things related to her skin complexion, about her being so light and about the privileges, and that she's only where she's at because she's light skinned. So now that's what Charisse has said over on Crystal XO. That I don't know the truthfulness of that, and whether you guys have
Mhm.
seen that interview. But if that's the case, then that kind of says something about Zadia, and that kind of says something about Sharice's perception may not have been too far from off. But I don't
Mhm.
I don't see the other ladies as being colorist. I don't see
Mhm.
them as having a problem with Sharice having lighter skin, because those of us like
Mhm.
Vernisha is only a few shades off from Charisse, and I'm sure in her family, like many of us Black people, I have cousins that could pass for white, and I've got cousins that are as a chocolatiest of chocolate skin
Mhm.
tones. You follow what I'm saying? So that
Yes.
happens a lot in our Black community. So I don't see Ashley and I don't
Mhm.
see Renisha as having an issue with Sharice, but I do see
Mhm.
Zadia as possibly having an issue, because if you go back to Zadia's season, Zadia appeared to have problems with the other light skinned ladies in the bunch, right? Her season.
Mhm.
So yeah, what do you think, Sean? What do you think?
True.
You don't want to give
Well,
any
very
more
well could
explanation
be.
into that?
I mean, I don't think so. I, I think was Venetia being the senior member of the group, she probably not didn't have any qualms with Sharice's complexion, what have you. However, I think it could have been the dynamic of Sharice trying to fit in, and it could have very well been from years of growing up. She probably, tried to fit in and tried to fit in and tried to fit in, and people, of course, how old is Sharice? What, 43? What,
Mhm.
81, 82, something like that, about 81. So probably growing up, you think you bad because you high yellow. You think you bad because you high yellow.
Mhm.
Da, 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 da. You're a red bone, so forth and so on. And I think those ideas, you know, um, would be,
Exist in our
yeah, yeah, that's right.
community?
Sharice is the senior. Thank you, LD.
Mhm.
But yeah, those nuances that exist in our community,
Mhm.
that people are too black to be white, but too white to be black. seemingly quote unquote, if you
Mhm.
use those as two polarized opposites. I
Mhm.
think that's could play probably in the dynamic with Sharice.
But
I
she's
don't
a
know
high
how it is in
achiever.
Miami. I don't even know if she grew up in Miami. It might have been that way.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah,
she
she's a high
actually is
achiever.
from
Yes.
Baltimore. She grew up in Baltimore.
Mhm.
Let's move
Mhm.
over to
Oh, she's from Baltimore.
Calvin and
Okay.
yeah. Let's move over to Brother
Even
Calvin and
with the
see what he has
challenge,
to say.
even with the challenges, she was a high achiever, right? She achieved a lot of things. So, so really, I think it just could be more personality clashes more so than anything. They've been in that house for a while. They have bonded and connected, and grew and sorted a lot of things during the course of the weeks they was together, because they did bond and connect. You can still be stuff that's going on, but they learn how powerful the sisterhood can be if used in a more befitting way. I think it's just a power play between Zadie and Sharice. That's been long standing, but you know what? They can work it out if they choose to. They had a power play back when they first got together. I mean, in the early phase when Sharice was talking about the house rules and all of that. So they prevailed over that. I think it's just some personality clash that's just ongoing. That's just there. And they have to come to learn how to mediate instead of being um, pouring fire on the flame, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They had
Yeah.
long-standing issues. They had long-standing issues. No, it's not new.
We, well, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? You bring up a very good point though, too, Calvin. What do you think? Do you think that maybe Zadia uh took took offense to Sharice pointing out that she spent the night outside of the house and that
Yeah.
maybe she just kind of held that against her?
Well, because they was the ones right out the gate. They had an issue with that alone. So I mean,
Right.
I'm grown. I can do what I want to do, but you still should respect the needs
Mm-hmm.
of the milieu. But still, you can't both be um, territorial confrontation all the time because you're in the house together. You have to work towards a happy core, because if you're steady, you don't want no man there. You don't want them coming in. But you know what? She's damn grown. Automatically, that's a red flag. You still have to consider the needs of others, but then you still have to respect her. Um, can it be a sidebar discussion instead of pulling a person, calling them out front? I guess it's how she confronted Zadia that made a difference too. Yeah.
Good point.
If they could have reasoned it to him and maybe had it on the side, that'd been better. But she fronted off, so she saw it right in front of everybody. So we're gonna have our claws out now. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
T Divine says their
Yeah.
personalities are
Yeah.
similar. That could be. What are you
Strong
saying,
will,
JR?
strong will.
Yeah,
Strong will.
their personalities are similar, but like I said, they just go about things in a different way.
That's right.
And I think you're absolutely right. Zadia, um, remember she was part of the Brown Girl squad before, right? So there was a definitely
Right.
a divide between who she
Yeah.
aligned with in terms of people who were more her complexion, and then
Yeah.
she had some
Mm-hmm.
animosity for people of a different shade. That was back then.
Yeah.
Has she grown out of it? We don't know. But I also think that the telltale behavior of Sharice trying to out her for staying out with Cam triggered, like instigated the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously Sharice tried to use the excuse, "Oh, you woke me up out of my sleep," and this, that, the other.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, we're
Yeah.
grown, and like if you get woken up out your sleep, yes, sometimes it's difficult to get back to sleep, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it was like early hours of the morning when this
Yeah.
happened. So
Mm-hmm.
Right.
any person that goes to work or has a business knows what it's like to have to wake up early, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have
Tell
to
me
work that
about
day, usually just do what you need to do and then go back to sleep, or take a
That's
nap during the day, right? So
mm-hmm.
on the reunion part one, Zadia did say, listen, like that's what the problem that's where the problem for her started. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that Sharice was trying to speak on how she moved in the process,
it.
it
Mm-hmm.
gave like kind of hater vibes,
That's
because the
right.
rule was no men, like Sharice even set the rule, and the other ladies just went along with it. They said, okay, cool. If that's your boundary, you don't want men in the house, that's cool.
Right.
So they all decided to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean that the ladies can't get to know the guys outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we listen to it, that's
Mm-hmm.
what Venetia wanted.
Mhm.
from Tabari, right? She wanted him to make more of an effort to speak off camera and get to know her and all that stuff. Mizell, I saw the receipts, by the way, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But Vanish was trying to allege that Mizell wanted to date her and all that stuff, and
Hmm.
outside the process. So they would have had to have gone outside the house for these things to happen.
That's right. Mhm.
So, at the end of the day, the rules were respected. No guys in the house, and I think Charisse was kind of hating because she didn't like the fact that Cam and Zadia hit it off so quickly. And let's be
Hmm.
real, it was very quickly. If
It
Mhm.
was.
people, if people's assumptions as to what went down did happen, then that was pretty much like within the first day or two.
Yeah.
But it's Zadia's business. Zadia's a grown
Right.
woman, and it's up to her how she wants to go about dating. If she likes someone, just like if any of us like someone, we'll do things out of the ordinary sometimes because we
Mhm.
like that person.
Yeah,
So,
that is true. That
that's
is so
just the
true.
way it went. And ultimately, at the end, Sharice is the one that ended up with a guy. She didn't gloat. She wasn't saying, "Ha ha, I ended up with a man. You girls didn't end up with nobody."
Yeah.
She was actually quite.
Okay, we're
Um,
jump we're jumping ahead there a little bit.
yeah,
Let's
yeah, I know, but I'm saying that her
yeah.
temperament changed
Hmm.
once she found the connection herself. She
Yeah.
wasn't watching what the other girls were doing. She
Right.
was doing her own thing with Maurice.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's you.
Mhm.
You bring up a very good point, though. Valid points. Thank you for that, Jr. That perhaps there was a little bit of envy in Cherise with
Mhm.
the Zadia situation because
Mhm.
Zadia and Cam, like you said, hit it off almost instantaneously. Like
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
were, they were popping right.
Mhm.
They were popping right
Mhm.
from the get go. So um, we come to Donald and Kirsten are now on stage, right? Um, Things seem peaceful, but when asked about Ashley, Kirsten says he has nothing to say. And host of the show says, "Well, but yeah, but this is a TV show, bruh.
Mhm.
You gotta use your words
Mhm.
on this TV show on this reunion. We're expecting to
Mhm.
to get all the tea and the juice and all of the good
Mhm.
things, as Jr. would say, all the things that are thinging. We expect to get all of that, but
Mhm.
what happened to Kirsten? What do you suspect happened to Kirsten? Let me go over here to Calvin. Calvin, what do you think happened? Why wasn't
Well,
Kirsten talking?
it seemed like he was hurt. And he didn't know how to deal with his. He was in his feelings because after all you had to do was come in and oblige them and say, "Hey, I had a good time," or "I didn't have a good time," and it's okay. But you came in with a major attitude, like, "Hey, I
Hmm.
didn't get what I wanted." Say, "Hey, I'm not saying." You came in like a little brat. Well, you came in a way that was out of character. If you're looking for love, then it should be more comprehensive demeanor. If you're looking for love, you're open to having a better relationship, not just with somebody else, but with yourself. So he came in out of character, but then you know what? That's okay because it's still room for growth. And look at yourself. Why didn't he choose you? Would you choose you if you had to choose yourself? His personality was out of character.
And what are your thoughts, Sean? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Thank you for that, Calvin. What
Mhm.
are your thoughts, Sean? Why was Kirsten? Why didn't he have any words? What was going on?
It's hard. I really don't know. I kind of lean to the fact that he felt maybe that he was played. Maybe he used to be the one who plays. I'm not sure. And he felt like he could have been played by Ashley the way she was with him and Donald or what have you. We don't know what happened off screen. We don't know. We just know what we've seen in the 41 minutes of film without the commercials.
Mhm.
So I'm inclined to believe that he probably felt like she was playing him because she was playing between him and Donald,
Mhm.
Okay.
and you know, because she was his. You remember she told him, she said, "Well, look, I dropped another person because of lack of communication." And da 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 da. Then she go and tell Donald the same thing. Well, I got another person waiting. Da 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 blah blah blah. So I think that could be his impetus for being upset.
Mhm.
Now, was that warranted to be like that on the show and just to satisfy? Say, look, I'm here. Give me my check. I can leave now.
Mhm.
That's it. I don't know.
Mhm. Well, one of our viewers is saying, I'm sorry, wait a minute. He's one of our viewers is saying that he's cocky and he's probably used to having his way. Would you agree with that, Sean?
Whether he's cocky or not, I don't know. He might be confident, self-confident, overly
Okay.
self-confident. I don't know.
Mhm.
You
If
think
that's,
you think
I
the
don't know
fact
whether
that
it's
he's
cockiness or not. Uh,
mhm.
but
You think the fact that
there's no
he was a
shortage of confidence in himself.
Yeah.
yeah, you think the fact that I think someone's alleging that he was a former NFL football player that could contribute to him being used to having his own way?
Hmm.
Could very well be. Could very well be.
All
I mean,
right.
and I think one of the things that about former players is one of the things about former players. I used to work with a couple of guys that used to play professional football, and one of the things they told me is the thing to get used to after football or any other sport is getting used to not having your name called. That's a very
Mhm.
humbling experience, and so it could be
Yeah.
the same way with him. He could be
Oh.
having a hard time dealing with life after the sport.
Mhm.
Mm.
Good point.
Ooh, I need to ask my ex about that. That's a good
Mhm.
point. I can see that. Actually, I could see that. I could see
Mhm.
that because if you become, if you rise to the level to be a professional in any
Mhm.
sport in this country, you have devoted a lot of your life to
Mhm.
that sport.
Mhm.
So quite naturally, you're kind of wrapped up in
Mhm.
who your image is at that
Mhm.
point to some degree. So I think that makes sense. Well, let's go over here to Mr. VIP. Mr. VIP, what say you about Kirsten and the whole "I'm here to fulfill my contract"?
Mhm.
I believe him. I think he has nothing to report, nothing to say. He wasn't feeling Ashley. I mean, their initial interaction had chemistry to begin with, but I think after two or three interactions where she either told him off or scolded him in some way or told him not to say or do something, I think maybe two or three times of that he was done. And then when he met Stormy, that was a beautiful surprise, as he said, and he was like, "Man, Ashley got no chance." Like he is already well and truly not invested, and when she let him go, he didn't put up any fight or any resistance whatsoever, let alone chase her, which is what she wanted. But he was just like, "I'm cool." Like he's got nothing to say. They probably didn't talk much outside of the process, and they weren't really a thing long enough for there to be anything substantial to really add. But I will say, if he was malicious, he could have really come in with an agenda to try and get revenge for being sent home the way he was, and he didn't do that.
Yeah, you guys all make excellent points as well as the people out in the chat. One of
Mhm.
my favorites is he's now a rapper over on IG. I never thought of that before, but okay. I like this one too. Uh, Favorite T says, I don't think he was hurt. He didn't even want her. That's why he stood her up. And that's a very good point because she's looks like they're talking about the time when what was it? The birthday party for Zadia.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, Kirsten didn't even
Hmm.
show up.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Nope. Yep.
Only Downell. Only Downell showed up.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
And
very
that
good
was
point.
after that was Donald showed up out of the blue because he had already been eliminated too.
Yeah.
It's where, she wasn't expecting him either.
Right. Kiki says, as I said before, no man wants to be compared to another man. She still compares him in her past men she dated. Exactly.
She even
Kiki, gold
admitted that.
star. Yeah,
She
she did
even
that.
admitted that on while she was talking. She said, she's so used to going for the player and this, that, the other, and that's the vibes that Kirsten gave her, which is probably why she was so attracted to him in the first place. But she decided to go with someone different in Donald, who came across as someone who's a lot more reserved and more shy and inside himself, rather than being gregarious and extrovert and a showman.
Hmm I think part of I don't know. I don't know what to make of Ashley. It's part of that allure that she has for these men that are showy and not the quiet, soft-spoken guy. I don't get her. I don't get her with that because obviously in this case, for example, not saying in all cases, but in this case with Kirsten, it seemed to me it was very clear that he did not care for Ashley in any way. Like he really
Right.
wasn't feeling her. He never showed that.
Right. He was very reserved. And, we've seen a couple of instances where we've heard the ladies say they want these guys to go above and beyond to state their
Right.
intention and pursue them. So when that
Hmm.
pursuit isn't there, then, these ladies are thinking, what's up? Like, what's wrong with you? It's a you problem. Why are you not pursuing me? You're supposed to pursue ladies. And these guys aren't pursuing them because they really genuinely are not interested. That's what it comes down to. If a guy's interested, like Donald is interested with Ashley, he's prepared to, okay, I'll make it work. Okay, I'll try and do this differently next time. Okay, I hear you. Okay, I'm gonna try. He's trying because he really likes her, but it's
Hmm.
like she doesn't really
She doesn't
um
appreciate him.
she doesn't appreciate it because she wants Kirsten to be saying that, not
Yes.
Donald. If Kirsten
Yes.
was saying that, she would be with Kirsten, but he
But
don't
if a
care.
guy doesn't want you, you should pay attention to that because you can't make him do what he don't want to do. That's
What's the
okay.
name of
Exactly.
that song? Alexa, Alexa, play. I can't make him love me. Play that
That's
for me,
right.
okay?
That's right. If you don't love,
Yeah,
if
and
you
we're
don't
gonna
love a
touch
person,
on this
you don't.
later as well.
Wait a minute, hold
We're,
on, Alexa. Stop that. I was just joking, okay?
we're, we're gonna touch on that later with the whole Ben 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 thing as well. So you know,
When a person tell you something more than once,
Well,
it's the truth.
he could be a reminder. He could be a reminder of to her.
Of Alex, don't say it. Don't say that name.
Wait, Cal.
No, I was just saying when a person tell you something more than
Yeah,
once,
that's
pay
what I was gonna
attention.
say. That's what I was gonna say.
Male
Exactly
or
what I was
female.
gonna say.
If they're saying what they're saying and they continue to say it, that's okay. Hear it. Don't just
Hear
hear
it.
what you want to hear. Don't just hear what you want to hear.
You know
well,
what?
that's
That
Cameron
was
Zadia. That's Cameron Zadia all over.
right.
Right. That's right.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. That
Mhm.
applies for both Ashley and that
Mhm.
applies also
Okay.
equally for Zadia. But we coming to her in just a second.
Mhm.
But to finish this out with Ashley, meanwhile on the screen they play the clips back of Ashley's back and forth. I think the young lady's name is Lakeisha,
Mhm.
Yep.
who's a friend of the Donalds, right?
Mhm.
They play the
Hmm.
clip anyway of the two ladies going back and forth.
No.
And why? And then I wanted to know why do you guys think that Ashley was so bothered by Donald's friend? I mean, why is she being such a spark plug? Why is she so feisty about all of this? Let's go to Sean.
Be-
Sean, what do you think?
Well, I don't know what the nature of Donald and Lakeisha's friendship may be. I don't know what the depth of it could be. I don't know how far they go back or what. Um, she could have been waiting for her 15 minutes of fame and just to say she was on TV again. I don't know. Just to take her dig into Ashley. Um, I don't know. I mean, I understand that you're looking out for your friend. You don't want someone that's gonna take your friend's kindness for weakness and what have you.
Mhm.
And maybe she did overstep a bit in her delivery with Ashley. Could very well be. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
Mhm.
Um, Calvin, what do you think? What do you think about the whole back and forth with Ashley and Donald's friend when he brought his friends to meet Ashley? Should she have been so hyped up?
Well, Ashley has the need for a lot of reassurance. We've said that over and over. We're not supposed to put her on the spotlight, but when you look at her, she has the issues of abandonment, which is very pronounced, and she needs a lot of security when it comes to guys. And she has a tendency to pick the same kind of guy over and over that doesn't work out. And she expected a lot out of Donald because she kept saying, I expected for you to protect me. I needed security from you and you didn't provide it. So it's not just the young lady, as it was just how it made reminded her of her own insecurities, you know. And Donald wasn't protecting her, as she said, you know. So I
Mm,
mean, it wasn't just the young lady; it's what she represented, her vulnerabilities, her insecurities.
yeah, we've said that over and over again that
Yeah.
she is
Mm-hmm.
insecure. And
Mm-hmm.
I also think that she lacks self control.
Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
think this
Mm-hmm.
is an issue with Ashley. What say you, Mr. VIP?
Yeah.
I think Ashley and Donald's friend are very similar in temperament. I think they both uh, can get very passionate, very animated when they
Mm-hmm.
um, have a bone of contention about something, and that's why they clashed. I think it was a mirror in terms of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Donald's friend did say that if Ashley had come in the same demeanor on the reunion as on the date when they met the first time, then they probably would have got on better.
Okay.
But um, the way that Ashley was kind of picking on Donald for his clothes, the way his personality is, you know, if like a true friend in that situation is going to speak up for you. And I also took note of when Donald was being grilled as to why he didn't stand up for Ashley.
Yes, let's talk
Like,
about that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
listen,
Good point.
he was like, listen, I'm in between a rock and a hard place. This is
Mm-hmm.
my friend defending me
Mm-hmm.
against, Ashley trying to pick me apart in front of them. And, I'm thinking to myself, if I was in the same situation, I'm not defending you either. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to try and pick me apart in front of my friends and try and embarrass me and start picking up my flaws and everything. And then I'm going to defend you for picking on me while my friends are saying that's not right.
Yeah.
That's a horrible situation to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And then with like as far as I know, they haven't knocked the boots yet. They're not married. They're not anything. So Ashley can defend herself. You know, like if you got yourself into this mess where you're trying to, I got a whole new wardrobe for you. Don't worry, I'm gonna fix you up. Don't worry, I'm gonna change you into what I want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think Donald's friend has a right to say, you know what, you know, listen, this is a cool guy. He's cool the way he is. Accept him for who he is, or part ways. Don't try and change him into something you want to be, because then he's not going to be authentically himself. You can't be that controlling.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
What
Ashley didn't like being challenged on that, and that's where she got amped up.
I
Mm.
agree that there's two things can be true at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying and what the chat is also saying. I
Mm-hmm.
agree that yes, the friend Donald's friend was a problem. She was problematic. She came in hot and she
Mm-hmm.
was just a friend. And to be fair, because when I first watched it the first time when it aired, I thought that this lady was his sister, which to me
Mm-hmm.
gives her more right. This is a blood relative or adopted or whatever, but you're his family and
Mm-hmm.
you're coming in defending your brother or your son. I could understand it. But as a platonic friend, I think that yes, I think the young lady was in the wrong. She came in too hot. She didn't relax to ask the questions of Ashley and let Ashley walk into her own trap, set her own trap. But she just went off and she
Yeah,
was
but
very hype.
also
Yeah, and they both had this hype energy, both Ashley and the friend.
Yeah.
Go
Mm-hmm.
ahead, JR.
right, but also you have to also factor in the fact that Donald said he's new to the area, so he doesn't have many friends, right? And this is clearly like these two are clearly people that he's been hanging around with or whatever, right? And they're close because during his interactions with Ashley, where remember the whole message thing, the friend said she was right there when Donald was sending the messages to Ashley that Ashley said she didn't receive. So
Right.
that's where Ashley probably felt like, oh, so you're calling me a liar. And the friend is like, well, you're trying to call Donald a liar. He sent those
Or
messages. You didn't
or
receive them.
or JR was the friend was Ashley also thinking like I was thinking when I heard the friend say that. Oh, you was with him? Like,
Mhm.
again,
That's
now as a
insecurity.
woman, I gotta wonder, you're not his sister, so that means that hot and heavy time is on the table. You're not his sister, you're not
Nah,
a blood relative, right? So,
that's
but you're with
insecurity
him.
because
You're right.
yeah,
It's
but
some
that's
insecurity.
insecurity because like men and women can be platonic friends, right? And
Exactly, they
um,
can.
the friend zone is a very difficult place to get out of. Once someone puts you in a friend zone, there are some people who keep that boundary and keep you in that friend zone, and that's all you're ever going to be. All
Mhm.
right. Um,
Mm,
and I also think that Ashley's insecurity in that moment also fueled that confrontation.
Mhm.
Um, the thing is, if Donald, like he said, if and rightly so, if he had said anything to side with the friend in that instance, then Ashley would have felt ganged up on. And
Mhm.
also, it's never a good look for when a man is confronting a woman or in certain instances. So if he's got his friend doing it for him, then that saves him having to get in trouble doing it as a guy talking to a woman in a way like that.
Mhm.
I agree with you in theory, but the problem with it goes back further than the reunion. The problem with it for me, JR, goes back to why can't Donald speak for himself? Why can't Donald talk to Ashley privately? Didn't have to be on camera. Or when she was don't let us keep you up there, okay. uh b- why couldn't Donald speak to Ashley, or even in the scenes where we can go back to when she was talking about his loafers or saying this or saying that? Why doesn't he, in the moment, as a man, step up? See, this is the part of the problem I
No,
feel why
can't.
she does not respect him. She does not respect him
No.
because he is
He
not
doesn't
setting
communicate
healthy
well,
boundaries
success.
for himself. He doesn't set those
Yep.
boundaries that need
Mhm.
to be set as a man. Or as even as a
No.
person.
Mhm.
No. He
But she
can't. He
always
can't.
complained about his communication
Wait a
skills.
minute, hold on. I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
Kelvin. You go
I'm
go.
sorry.
No, no, go ahead. Go,
I
and
was
then we
saying
go.
she's been complaining about his communication skills ongoing and
Exactly.
with expectations, but they still have a relationship that has been evolved and transcended that. Even with the issue, they still have a relationship. So it's something interesting about them. Period. They have a great relationship despite all of that.
It's a friendship. It's not a
Yeah,
relationship.
that's
And
what.
also, like, he can't set those boundaries because, as we saw on the show, every
Mhm.
time he tried to talk, she shut him down. She's like she
Mhm.
was trying to talk over him or stop him
Yeah.
mid sentence, and he even said, "Look, I can't even get my words out. I can't even finish without her interjecting."
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
how it's probably been through the whole process.
So
So
is it
that's
ongoing
Yeah,
why
relationship?
it's not whether he stands up as a man. Men can stand up against other men and
Yeah.
say things, but
Mhm.
when it's a man doing it to a woman, you have to tread very carefully
Mhm.
because unfortunately we are seen as the aggressor in a lot of situations.
Mhm.
So he the best thing to do is to sit
Yeah.
back and let his friend do it
Mhm.
because
no, 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 no.
once
But Jr.
yep
Jr. Hold up,
Uh,
hold up, hold up.
uh,
I know. We got to go back.
mhm.
Let's go back in time if we could.
Mhm.
Are you saying that you don't feel that Donald has any responsibility to speak up for himself before we get to meet the friends, meet the family day? You don't feel like he has any responsibility as a person, not just as a man, but as a person? Because, see, me as a girlfriend to another woman, I'm going to have an issue with you talking to me like that. I just had this happen on my job the other day where a woman, well, she actually texted me. She sent me this ridiculously evil text.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, like you ain't going to talk to me like that. So I fixed it. I fixed that situation. So you're telling me that Donald doesn't have any responsibility to set any boundaries for himself with Ashley before he has to be this passive aggressive person that sicks his friend on Ashley? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that he can only do it a few times before he realizes that it's not going to work. And he can never try to match Ashley's energy because it will be a volatile situation. Let her be the one that's amped up, emotional, lose control, rant and rave about stuff. But Donald, nah, his best move in that situation is to be passive. You can't have two people volatile and animated and stuff like that.
Well, I'm not
Every
saying
time he tried to talk on the show,
Mhm.
she interrupted him where he couldn't speak, and she felt comfortable doing that because it's not the first time. So that's
Right.
what I'm saying. Like, you have to pick your battles. If you're dating someone who's volatile, as a man, if you're dating a lady who's volatile, emotionally ready to flip, you can't match that. Your best option is to walk away to diffuse the situation. You do not go toe to toe, line for line with her, because you end up being the one that is worse off. You're the one that is then like, okay, a man shouldn't be stepping to a woman like this. And that's where you fall on your sword and you're like, yeah, for real. And it's just a dynamic that unfortunately men find themselves in, but we have to be able to walk away. We can't get into combative situations with ladies. It's not smart. Not in this day and
Uh,
age either.
But if you
right.
choose to date someone, they have to respect you. So you really have to if you're dating somebody, if you're not dating them and you just kind of I see you later, if you're dating them, you have to establish yourself early in the game because it has about respect. Respect. If we have a relationship, we should bring out the best one. If we started out and I'm being passive, going against myself, then that's not good because it only gets worse. You have to establish yourself in terms of what you expect out of one another, and then you make a decision about whether or not you're going to be dating. Because you cannot go into a dating situation with the expectation of being committed to somebody that's detrimental to you. Because you can't just have a person undermine. Because if
True.
a person is not considering your needs and your feelings, then that can go from
Yes.
bad to worse, especially first starting out. You have to establish boundaries. What kind of relationship are we going to have? You have to respect me. Other than that, we don't have the relationship that I need.
Uh, go ahead. Thank you for that, Calvin. Sean, you want to speak? Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I see both points between JR and Calvin. However, I think somebody put it in the chat just a few minutes ago.
What's
I
that?
mean, we don't know these people. Donald may have a temper and is supposed to temper, and maybe
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Okay.
uh, somebody said that maybe Donald has a temper. I don't know. Um,
Uh,
that his friend speaking on his behalf may
See?
be that mouthpiece that he needed so that he would not explode. Number two, number two is that
Okay.
if something, this is what I feel, if something was to materialize between Ashley and Donald, then Ashley is going to put Donald in the place. Hey, look, you got to do something about your friend. I mean, you're gonna be with me. You got to drop your friend. I think
Hmm.
it will come down to a choice that whether you want to keep her as a friend or lose me. If you keep her as a friend, you got to
Hmm.
lose me. And I think
Mm,
I don't think he will be prepared to make that decision per se. Sometimes people will try to alienate you from your friends. I mean, like I said, man, just move there. I mean, I don't know how long he's been in the area or what have you. I don't know what kind of friendship they have. I don't know whether they're just acquaintances or deep, intimate friends or what have you. But I think that there would be a showdown from the standpoint, hey, you have to do something
Hmm.
about her.
Exactly.
And now Donald's conflicted. Do I go with the woman that I'm dating, or do I still be friends with Lakeisha, what have you? So, and that
but
kind of, I
is it
think it puts him in the awkward spot instead of pushing Ashley.
he put himself in that awkward spot though, Sean and JR? He put himself in that awkward spot. Do you guys not see the irresponsibility of this man not being able to communicate for his own darn self?
that's
What
right.
is he
Uh,
going to be in a relationship if he's got to get his friend to communicate what he's feeling to this other person? That's a third party, and they don't know all the ins and outs of the relationship. Why are they communicating his unease or discomfort with what she's saying about his loafers, his clothing, his dress, how he speaks, how he acts? Why can't he simply tell her himself when he's calm? He doesn't have to do it when he's angry and
right,
upset. Come
And be
back
okay
later.
with
right,
speaking up for himself. You just
Yeah.
right,
starting out. You just starting out. You just starting
Well,
out. So you
well,
have to
well,
have a certain.
right. You just
You have to
answered your own
establish,
that's
question,
right.
Obi.
Yeah.
the ground rules. Because I don't need you that much to the point where you degrade me right
Yeah.
out the gate and
Well, that's the,
dictating how I'm supposed to be. You're not my
Obi.
what is it going to be down the road? If it started out like this, you got to fix me up to be your image and likeness. And then what's next? What's next on the horizon? What else do I have to change? What else do I have to concede to? We just
Right.
started out. We just started out, and I had to be something
So yeah,
to
so
change
so
to be and not be myself.
A wise man at work once told me
so
that
so
when he
let,
was
let-
having problems in his marriage, that he didn't go back and tell his mom, even to the point where maybe he and his wife were having a spat in the early years, and he had to leave the house to have some peace or to give her space. What he did when he went over to his mother's house is he blamed it on himself. That's what a wise man does, because by putting another woman in the middle of your situation with your woman, you are not causing a problem. The fact that you won't
Nope.
have these crucial conversations, you don't see that as being problematic, JR?
Nope. Communication is both ways, right?
Yes.
Now, you can only voice what you're. Listen, you've got someone telling you, I don't like the way you dress. I don't like the way you do this, X, Y, and Z, right? You're
Right.
kind of giving her a free pass to be able to do that. Now, the thing is, he has already said to her, look, what's wrong with my clothes? Why are you trying to check? He did say that at the time when she was critiquing him, and she further went in. The reason why is because she doesn't respect his voice. She doesn't respect his
We agree
opinion.
on that
She doesn't
point.
respect
She
his
does
feelings.
respect him.
She doesn't respect it because that's why she was so comfortable doing it in front of his friends, right? And that's what made his friend Lakeisha defend him in the first place because she was there watching Ashley pick him apart in front of them already at this early stage. So, like Sean said, what's it going to be further down the line? It's going to come down to, oh, well, you know what? You know your friend don't like me. So you need to get rid of her because it's either her or me. Like, who you
But
going
do
to
you
pick? That's
does
insecurity. So,
does
I'm not giving Ashley a pass for that.
I know?
Unfortunately, she needs to control her behavior and not be so mean spirited and be picking someone apart about what they look like clothes
I
wise and how
agree.
they
I
act.
agree with that point.
Send him
But
home if
but
you don't like
JR,
him. If you really like
but
Kirsten,
all
go
right,
after Kirsten
now
and fall on that sword. But don't
but
be dragging
JR,
Donald. Yeah, go ahead.
JR, I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but you got to answer me this. Why is this guy sticking around? And do you recall that this same guy, so hold that thought for 1 second and you can tell me, but do you recall Donald at his house telling Ashley that the women that he's dated have all been toxic and they've been worse and worse and worse? This is because he's causing the toxicity. He's a part of the problem. Do you not see that?
No, no. Listen, that's where Donald has accountability to hold because he has yet again gone for the type of toxic relationship that he described to Ashley. So when he said that to her, that should also be a alarm bell that goes off to say, okay, well, maybe he's with he has interest in her because that's his type. That toxic type of relationship that he described that keeps getting worse and worse every time. This is the worst version than what he had last time. That's why he chose her. So alarm bells didn't go off in her head at all. Yeah, she's no different to the girls that he's dated before, right? So he's used to being that meek type of personality around ladies. And like I said, it don't matter how anybody else tries to twist it. If you're not a guy, you wouldn't understand the situation from a male's point of view. We cannot get into a situation. Once we say, look, okay, I heard you, I'll try and change my loafers. If you still keep nitpicking, it gets to a point where we're
Hmm.
like, you know what? This is just how she is. It's just going to get worse from here. And
But
if his
why is he
friends saw
staying
that, she
around though?
did the
That's the
right
question
thing
I'm
by defending.
asking.
She could have sent him home. In fact, she did send him home.
check,
And
He
he changed.
likes her
check,
for who she is. He doesn't like him for who he is.
Okay.
check.
He's willing to accept the toxicity and the ping pong ball emotions.
Okay, so we do agree on that one point, JR, that this is toxicity and that he's accepting it. We do agree on those 2 points,
Yeah,
right?
that's who he dates.
Oh, okay,
He
okay.
admitted that
I
that's
just
who he
want.
dates.
Okay,
But
okay.
but
Let's.
what we're saying is she liked Kirsten more because that's the type of guy that she usually goes for. She's trying something different with this more passive guy, and you can already see how she can run him and rule the relationship much more than how he will have control. because she's already setting out her stall so early on. I'm gonna pick what you wear. I've got a whole new wardrobe for him. That's what she said confidently. I've got a whole new. Don't worry about this stuff. We got a whole new wardrobe for him back home. Don't worry. I'm gonna change up everything. That means you don't like the way he looks. You just embarrassed him. You don't like the way he dresses. You don't like nothing about him like that. That's mad.
But do you
Why
love?
be with, go
But
be
wait a
with
minute,
Kirsten?
we got Sean waiting to get in here. I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you, Sean. He's been waiting patiently for a long time. Sean, come on, what do you got to say as a man? What do you have to add to
Well, I
this?
mean, they're well, I mean, none of us in their shoes.
Yeah.
However, I believe that there are some men that like to be dominated, and there's some women that like their place. Some women like, hey, just tell me to shut up. Just tell me to shut up. Whatever. So and I think that's probably the kind of man that Ashley wants. Just
Mhm.
tell me to shut up. What have you? Don't let me run over top of you. What have you? So I'm gonna keep on saying this and doing this, that, third, until you tell me to shut up, until you put me in my
Exactly.
place. And some women get off on that. That I mean, as abnormal as it sounds, there's some people that their dysfunction is functional to them. And then
Yeah,
like on Donald's
Mhm.
side, every
Mhm.
relationship he said he's been in, he's the common denominator of toxicity. So that's his normal. Toxicity is his normal until he gets the mind to change that, hey, this is what he's going to keep on producing and check the box he's going to keep on checking. Why? Because he's addicted to toxicity because I guess somehow, some way he feels like he cannot do any better.
Mhm.
And or it could go another way from the standpoint
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
we're filming right now, but I'm gonna tell you something. Now, if it weren't for the security around here, if it weren't for these cameras, it may be a different story. I don't know. I mean, I hate to say what it would be like off camera. I don't know.
Mhm.
but but the
I would like to think that he would not be that type of man. What have you?
right. But
Mhm.
Sean, but the
Mhm.
interesting thing, did you catch that
Because
during the reunion, the friend, Don's friend, actually came back at him and came back at Ashley and said, "You know what? Had I seen all these clips beforehand, I wouldn't have came at you so hard." So, I mean, I see all three of them as being different parts of the problem. Don for his passivity and for also not being effectively communicating with Ashley and for staying in there with the toxic situation. I think that's a problem right there. But the girlfriend, she's like, "Oh yeah, well, if I had known all this, I wouldn't have came in so hard." But that's what I'm saying. Anytime you become a third party to someone else's problem and you go charging in, you're never going to know all the ins and outs. You only know what they told you. You only know their side. Don't you think that there's going to be another side to the situation? Yeah.
Yeah, but she saw it firsthand. They had a conversation, and that
true,
also added to the fuel to the
true.
fire. It wasn't just based on pure hearsay. She actually sat there and had a conversation to
Mhm.
get to know her, and it still went left. But you know what? The best outcome happened. They are just friends. They didn't take it further into relationship. They
That's
are just
true.
friends.
But
So
that could be
it
a
could get a lot
foundation of a
worse.
great relationship, though.
That's it.
What's
Well,
it?
maybe,
But,
but it also gives you clarity enough to
yeah.
make you say, you know what? Maybe we're not built for a relationship.
Right.
Maybe
But
not for the
what's
two.
interesting, they've had a relationship throughout the whole season, and
They
they one
have.
they
That's a
have,
good point.
even down to the wire now and the reunion episode, they're still a part of each other experience. So it's kind of interesting because
Hmm.
they both have immense challenges, and as parents, they both have their own respective insecurities, and they have a tendency to pick the people that's wrong for them. Maybe if they getting to know each other as friends, to become a better relationship down the road because they establish themselves as friends right now. They maybe if they start communicating more effectively with one another, they can kind of fine tune their skill set and get into a better understanding of how best to have a relationship with one another, with themselves first, and with one another. Maybe there's room for
Point.
improvement because they kind of slow their roll and look at each other in a more comprehensive way. Instead of trying to take it to the next level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
got to
friend did.
disagree there. I got to
Mm.
disagree
Okay.
because
Okay.
listen,
Mhm.
like they can be friends, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
there was a certain part of this reunion where Ashley grabbed him by the hand and said, "Yeah, let's go and handle this." When there was the little, sexual
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
innuendo,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Listen, friends don't do that. Friends don't
Mhm.
do that. So make up your mind. Are you friends trying to figure it out, or are you going to go for a relationship? And
But
I
that's what.
also, there was a comment earlier which said, maybe Donald has a temper, and that's what I'm talking about. We haven't seen him explode. We haven't
Yeah.
seen him even use a cuss word or get frazzled like that. We've seen him hold his head in his hands and be all meek and timid,
Mhm.
and he hasn't even retaliated against some of the things that Ashley has done. But
Mhm.
that's how some people view him already.
Right.
So if he
Mhm.
starts going back and forth with her over silly things,
Mhm.
listen, if someone said to me, you know what, say for example, a girl said to me, I don't like your clothes. I know she's being mean.
Yeah.
So then
Right.
I'm gonna say, well, I'm not changing my clothes for you. You
Mhm.
worry about what you wear.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what I'm wearing.
There
Mhm.
you
That's it. If
go.
you don't like,
And that's what I'm
if you
saying.
don't,
He doesn't have to be
yeah, if you don't
mean.
like
He
what I'm
doesn't have
wearing,
to
that's
curse
cool.
her out. Right. I
But
agree with
maybe
you.
it's
Mm.
hard to
Do that.
convey everything with the
Hmm.
limitations of what we see. So I'm just saying it's kind
I
of hard
want to.
to.
I want to go on to thank you. I'm sorry, Calvin, for interrupting you, but because of time,
Okay.
we got a lot of stuff to get through, and you pointed it out, Jr. At the very beginning, when we met uh, before the show started. But I want to get you guys quickly your opinion on this, and we're going to move forward from Ashley and Donald. But this was something that really irked me. Donald said, you guys recall during the reunion when Donald said that Ashley says that, he said there were some things that bothered him. She says that she's the star of the show and he was only there because of her. Then she
Mhm.
kind of repeats it, and then she kind of looks over at Tamika Lee to say, well, you know me, I don't even talk like that.
Yeah.
Who do we believe in this situation? Because I definitely had a very strong opinion, but I want to get you guys' opinion first. Let's start with Sean. Sean,
Mhm.
briefly, could you tell us, what did you think? Do you believe that Ashley would have said something like that or very similar to that? Because he was kind of paraphrasing that she's the star of the show and that he's only there because of her and so forth and so on. What do you think about that?
I think so. He doesn't have any reason to lie. I think he's telling the truth.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, so you do agree with them. Okay,
Mhm.
She
that's
didn't refute
one.
it.
Well, she
I agree
kind
with
of
him.
did because when she tossed it back to Tamika Lee, she did say, "Does that even sound like me? That doesn't sound like me." So she kind of was saying that wasn't her.
Mhm.
But okay, but we'll move forward to Calvin. Calvin, what are your thoughts?
Well, I concur with him because the thing about it, she has dominated the platform and dictated everything about how the next we're gonna go. She got rid of him, then she got him back, and she's still dangling on a string, and he's still kind of being complicit in it. So I agree. I accept what he
You
said.
you
I
believe
accept it.
him,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
Jr. Last but not
mm-hmm.
least, Jr. What do you think? Do you believe Donald, or do you think that Ashley says that's not something she would say? Who do you believe and
Listen,
why?
man, I think Donald is telling the truth because when Ashley was talking with Stormy, that was the vibe she gave. She said, "Listen, you're supposed to be here for me. This is my opportunity. It's my show." Type vibe. She said that with Stormy.
Mm-hmm.
She also said the same thing to Kirsten in their
Mm-hmm.
interaction. It's supposed to be about me,
Yeah.
and like that's one of the reasons why he got turned off. You could see his whole energy shift when she
Mm-hmm.
started using that type of rhetoric. So I think she has said it before,
Yeah.
and she probably doesn't even realize that she's saying it and giving off that type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm in agreement with all of you because if you stop and think about it,
Mm-hmm.
Ashley says something very similar on camera, and we all saw it and heard her when she told Kirsten, "You're here because of me.
Mm-hmm.
I get to send
Exactly.
you home or
Yeah.
not." All of the women pretty much have
Hmm.
said that except for
Mhm.
Sharice. I've never
Yeah.
heard Sharice say anything similar to that. I've heard Vernisha say it, I've heard Ashley say it, and basically Zadia. They've all three of those women have said something. So she absolutely did say that. She absolutely did. She
Mhm.
absolutely did, in my opinion.
Yep.
So
So
we'll
the
move.
accountability is not there.
It's not there. You're absolutely right on that. Accountability for Ashley on that is not there.
Mhm.
Um, okay. Next we have Sharice and Maurice and Lizelle. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, that should be Mazel.
Myself.
Not Lizelle, but
Mhm.
you know. You get the point. So anyway, they're up, and we hear that Maurice is Sharice's quiet storm, that
Mhm.
she reconnected with the second time around, and then the second time around, Maurice had more words, more conversation, and more affection for her.
Mhm.
Um, we find out that the two of them have even went to the Essence Festival together, where they had VIP seating, and Sharice felt like a queen, and Maurice did all the things that were thingy, and she's liking this time with Maurice. What were your thoughts about this, Sean? What were your thoughts about this pairing?
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, I call it the Jessica Marie situation. Um, I think it's just show. I don't think it's genuine. I don't think it's as genuine as he thinks it is. I think it's just status for her. Status for her. That's why I look at it.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, and over to appreciate that. And over to Calvin. What were your thoughts about Maurice and Sharice?
Well, when you look at it, they're more seasoned individuals and out of the couples. He's in his 50s, I think, and she was in her 40s. I think they because they and then also for Sharice, she established her connections, I think, later in the episodes more so than the other ones. So it's a good connection for its potential because they're more established within not just their career but within themselves, and so they bring something to the table that maybe the younger ones don't. But it's kind of hard to say. It could work. It could work. It can not work. But they can be friends along the way because after all, they established within their respective careers and their family and all of that. So they want something more sustainable. I think he's been married on more than one occasion, and sorry, and he has children, and I'm not certain that she has children now, but she's well established in her career, so it could be interesting to see how it evolves. I think they just overcame the part about um, they're they're comfortable with themselves. I think more comfortable with themselves than the other one. So it could be a great friendship. Whether and but they're in different regions, so maybe it could be a good relationship down the road, or maybe it can just be good friends. Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see it as, and I let me know. Oh, you're back, Jr. Okay, because I was gonna
Mm-hmm.
say, let me know when you come back. But real quickly, I think that Charisse and Maurice, I think for me, I think they're genuine. They may seem awkward. I get it that they seem awkward a little bit on camera, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that goes back to Charisse really not being a hugger,
Yeah.
a toucher on camera. And
Mm-hmm.
if you go back to her season, we saw that all throughout her season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of who she is. She's a little conservative in front of the camera. And I don't blame her.
Yes.
To me, I think it's classy for a lady to not show
Mm-hmm.
everything. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody doesn't need to know your business. Yes, I get it. You're on a show on the one hand, but on the other hand, you ain't gotta do all this hugging and kissing and letting him grab your buns. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
for that. That's just me. JR, what are your oh, he disappeared again.
That's just saying the emotional security,
No,
the
no, I'm
emotional.
here. I'm here. I'm here.
Mhm.
Okay,
I'm here.
JR, I'm trying to get your thoughts on the Sharice and the
Yeah.
Mari situation of it all.
Um. Yeah. I think they're gonna take their time. I think
Mhm.
someone like Sharice that came in saying, you know what, this is what I want, and she had a little list or whatever, and she's the one that ended up settling in order to find her man at the end of the day, right? Will it go into a full blown relationship? I think potentially, but not yet. Not from what we've seen. The reunion was shot 3 months after the show ended, and from what I saw, I think they've been getting on well, but
Mhm.
like you just said, Charisse and Maurice don't have an intimate connection yet. I didn't see them. I mean, he was trying. He was like tapping her leg at times while he was joking or responding or whatever. He's a lot more talkative. I feel like he's
Mhm.
a lot more relaxed around her and with her. I feel like she's at ease with him to a degree. because I don't think she has to worry about him really stepping out and doing anything crazy. He seems like he's just the type to go to work, take care of his children, and make time for her. And that's all
Mm-hmm.
she probably was looking for. But let's make no bones about it. She said she didn't want a guy with kids, and she didn't want a guy with that was married before. So she ended up with both. This
Hmm.
guy's got
Well,
both.
you know what? We all kind of said it though. If you recall, Jr., I think you yourself included, if I'm not mistaken. We all said that at Sharice's age of 44, and she wanted to date a man that was senior over her. Well, the idea that he's never been married and doesn't have children kind of negates the fact that he's probably not a family man and he probably doesn't want to be married. So,
Yeah,
I mean, how many men running around that are 50 can say that they're truly family oriented men? I mean, how is that possible?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
there's
true. But
there's
Sharice
61
doesn't.
women out here for every guy. So you had 6 chances for every woman you met. And you're telling me it's kind of like Lizelle, like Sharice pointed out, that Lizelle is still single and he's the eldest of all his brothers. So the two don't
Yeah,
coincide for me.
I know. And she threw that shade knowing that she's old and doesn't have kids either. She in the same spot as Lizelle. She ain't got
Did
no
you say
kids.
old or did you say older? Because
he
I
meant
could,
to say
I could
older.
have
I'm gonna give
swore I
him.
heard you
Give him
say old, but I think you
he
meant
meant to say
older.
older.
Yeah, like Sharice is of a substantial age. She's over 40 and she doesn't
He's
have
over 40.
children herself. So for her to take that shot, I was like, hey, you must think. Listen, Maurice has kids, and just because you're dating Maurice doesn't mean they're yours. You ain't got kids, so you're trying to throw shade on someone, and you're in the same situation, right?
I,
But
I think, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, but I think they're taking their time. Like there's no rush. He hasn't even been to Miami yet, and unless there's an intimate connection built and a solid foundation, I don't see them going too deep. To be honest, while those walls are up and you can't touch me and you can't do, we're not there yet, and this that cool. All right, let's just keep it civil. We can go out on some dates. We can get to the front row of the crowd and you can see them up close and personal, whoever's performing. We can do all those type of things because I got the money to do that and take you out on these dates and make you feel special and create memories. But until they get further and deeper into their connection, ain't no one moving nowhere. No way.
Well, though some of the people out in our chat are saying that Maurice is going to take his time with her, and I agree. I think that
Yep.
Maurice, as an attorney, he's respected from what I hear in the area of New Orleans, and he's very prominent. He is going to take his time, and I think one of the things that if I'm Maurice, if I were him for just a moment, I would like Charisse, but I would be concerned about her temper and this explosiveness
Exactly.
that she does. Like you can't be my woman. I'm prominent. I have a reputation to maintain and my image.
Hmm.
And here you go going off. We're at a soiree or a gala event, and you go off on somebody. That's not going to work.
Exactly.
I need
Nope.
you to
It's
be a nurturer and to me. You're 40 something years old. You know how
Yes.
things
Come
go
on, Calvin. Come on,
about
Calvin.
quality and integrity, and you should be given more than just focus on yourself. Because at a
Hmm.
certain stage, your understanding of what it takes to have a relationship, a substance should be so much different. 30 something, 20 something, we understand. But 40 something, moving towards 50, you should have a more level head perspective about what you need to give. If you have not been married and you're 40 something years old, I'm not saying you're old, but you're a seasoned individual and has had more than your share. If you don't know what it takes to make a relationship worthwhile and sustainable, then something wrong with you.
hmm
With you. Not them,
exactly.
but something wrong with you. That's
Exactly.
Ooh.
the fact. Look at
Because
yourself. Look at yourself. Even if you have a relationship that you've been in for a long time, if where it needs to be improved, look at the work that you need to bring to the table, not just somebody else.
yeah, I agree
Mm.
with you, Calvin, 100%.
Yeah.
Because we go through different stages in life, right? And different things take different um,
Meaning
priorities, meanings, and
and
relevance
important.
to us. And once you get to let's say you get to 40, which is a milestone, right?
That's right. It is.
Yeah.
Your priorities shouldn't be the same in life or in dating or anything as they were in your 20s
That's
or your
right.
30s.
But
Right?
it's that's
There's
the
supposed to
fact.
be growth and evolution,
Evolving and maturing.
and you know,
Mhm.
right. And as you go through life, you go through different experiences. Some, end up having families, and unfortunately, it doesn't work. And some go a long time waiting to find that family and create one themselves.
Mhm.
But um, you know, Maurice is right to take his time because, as we've
Mhm.
seen, the slightest thing that irks Charisse, she's capable of going way off, and it will be in public as well, and it won't be nice, and he won't be able to outtalk her and stamp some type of authority and say, listen, do you know who I am? He can't do none of that. He
Right.
seems like a suave guy, a charming guy, and the
Hmm.
best thing he can do, if that happens, is to take his ball and go home. No, don't play
There
with
you go.
her. Just do the mature thing. Just like I
Hmm.
was saying with Donald, don't get into confrontation. It's never going to end well for you as a man. The
That's
best
right.
thing to do is to
Mm.
say, okay, you want to be hostile. I can't deal with that. I'm sorry. I have to
Mm.
block you, and I have to go my way. You go yours. No shade, no offense. We
Mhm.
can be friends if you want to, but I'm not going to go
Mhm.
back and forth and fight with you. No way.
Oh, okay. Very good points. Very good points. Sean says he has something to say. Go ahead, Sean.
Mhm.
Let's chime in.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know where we are in the conversation, but I'm thinking we're still on Sharice and Maurice.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes, we
Yeah.
the only thing I did not like, the
Mhm.
only thing I did not like was the fact that, I mean, I know it's an hour-long show because there constraints of time or what have you, because they have another Ready to Love coming up this week. But the only thing I did not like is how they curtailed Maurice and Sharice's story and preempted that with Maziel and Vernisha. They interjected them right on in there. I mean,
are. Right.
I don't like the way they put that one on in there. To me, I mean,
Mhm.
they should have just given her a moment to shine. Hey,
Mhm.
congratulations, Sharice, you and Maurice
Hmm.
together, what have you, blah blah blah. And then, but they're gonna introduce Maziel. I mean, that to me that was a slap in the face. I mean, I don't the way that
Mhm.
was edited or done. I don't like that.
I see your point.
That's
I see your I see your point. It didn't for you. It sounds like it didn't feel like they gave the Maurice and Sherry story enough shine. I think they did try to though, because I can recall one of the hosts saying, very good things about them as a couple. They look good, and I think that's where we get into the part where we find out that they attended the Essence Festival together, and Sharice even saying that she may not even go back to Miami. Like, so we did get the shine. I think as an audience, myself personally as a viewer, I did get the point. And then actually, so how they tied it in was they used Mizell. They used him, and they said that because it didn't work out, and
okay.
because of this conversation and him trying to get Vernisha's number, that was actually the action that took Sharice back to call Maurice back up, and for them to bring him back into the house and for them to go back on a date and see if they could make it work. And at that point, we now see that
That was a
Maurice is
different
more
experience.
talkative. He's got a
Mhm.
whole different thing. He's letting her know, hey, I'm here. I'm coming with the
Mhm.
full court pressure, girl. I like you. I want you. And I'm even bringing my daughter to meet you. So that's where we get all of that from. So to your point,
Mhm.
I think that's what they did, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. Um, one more thing. So getting back to Lizelle, because we're on his card now. I mean, Mizell. Mizell is asked about him getting Vern's number. And he begins to downplay that he was getting her number. Vern tells us that she didn't care if they went out, meaning her and Mizell, if they went out or not. How do you feel about that, Sean? Since we still have you, how do you feel about that? Do you agree?
Cap,
I
cap,
was going to say the same thing. I was going
cap.
You
to say
can
the same
say
thing.
you
Vernice,
can
I
say
mean,
a one word answer,
cause
but could
Vernice,
you fill us in with it a little more? Go ahead.
Vernisha, Vernisha knows she was interested in that man. She was
Mm-hmm.
just said that he did not want her choose her. He's the type of man that she wanted, and if not, why did she keep engaging with the man and text the man the whole night? Why did she give him her number? Come on, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Cap.
Yep.
Or call Cap
Okay,
any day. Yeah.
okay, you call Cap. All right, very good. Calvin, what was it as the young folks say? Was it Cap? Was it really Cap? What was Vernisha, was her slip showing? Do you
Of
think her
course,
slip was
of
showing?
course, of course. But you know what? Um,
Yeah.
he's interesting because he's an old player, right? And and
Old
he's an
player,
old player,
older.
and at a certain stage in your life, that part of you is not there anymore. You want to be an old player, and you may end up being a sugar daddy, so to speak. You know, so I think you really defeat your purpose, and you should really just kind of check yourself before you wreck yourself, and be more in tune with the fact that you need a commitment now when you still can get one, and not be trying to be something that you're not, because you be the very person you despise as you get older. But you fizzle out, but you become more abundant in other things. You know, so take advantage of that. You know, you're not what you was, and that's okay. That's okay. You had your day in the sun.
Yeah, that's what I say.
You had your day in the sun. That's okay. You have fond memories, so focus on other things. Be trying to be something that you're not.
I had a doctor once tell me that a certain part of my anatomy that he wanted to remove to help me get this bikini body back. And
Yeah,
at that stage in my life, I told him, sir, if I want a bikini body, if I want to see one, I'll just look at my daughter. She's
that's
a
that's
replica
right.
of me at her
Yeah.
age. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good. I'm
That's
good. I
that's
bore
right.
2 children.
That's
I
right.
don't have to be the same size I was when I was
That's
20
right.
or
Amen.
30. And no, sir, you are not going to remove this body part of mine. No, sir.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
sir. No way,
For
no how.
vanity. For vanity.
For vanity, and for him, so that he can help send his kids through
That's all it
medical
is.
school.
That's all it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know? Do you remember Dr. Vincent? Oh my gosh, his last name now escapes me, but he was one of the first Black gynecologists in the Detroit, Michigan area, and he said, I think he was on Oprah Winfrey's show back when it was on ABC, right?
Yeah.
He said that the number of uh,
Hysterectomies.
yeah, thank you, hysterectomies that he gave was what sent his kids through medical school.
Yeah.
And I was watching that and I said, you know what? When I got
Mm-hmm.
online back years ago, like
Mm-hmm.
probably even a decade ago, when you go and you find these rooms where you can talk to people from all over the globe, and
Yeah.
you talk to women from Europe, and you
Mm-hmm.
find out that their healthcare in terms of relationship to women is so much different than ours. There's no way, sir, you're taking that out. I don't have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you
Mm-hmm.
taking that out?
Yeah.
Are you
Mm-hmm.
taking a man's his manly parts out? What, like,
Mm-hmm.
for what purpose? Like, come on now. We know that certain things happen with men genitalia as they age. You ain't offering to take that off of him. No, sir. I'm sorry. I'm on a whole
No,
rant.
no, no. You
One day
got a
I'm going
point.
to do a whole topic about this whole hysterectomy scare thing.
Oh,
But
just think of
that's
things.
just how I feel like when talking. I don't know how we got into that, but I'm
But
sorry.
we're talking
I'm
about being
sorry.
who you are and being okay with that.
Yeah.
And when as you age, you
Oh,
gain and lose. That's just life.
that's
But
how
you
we got into
that's
it. That's how I got. I'm sorry.
that's
That's how I got into it because
mm-hmm.
people want women to think that when they age and things change on their body, they want us to feel a certain way. And I'm saying, no, I don't have to feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Women, Cherise, myself, anybody, as we're aging, because guess what? That's a part of still being here. There's a
It
lot of
is.
people that wish they could make it to the age that we are now,
That's
Calvin,
right.
you and I.
That's right. That's
Like,
all
a
I'm
lot of
saying.
people aren't going to hit 40. They
I
ain't going to
know.
make it to 40.
I
I
know.
had a friend, I had a younger gentleman that was interested in me, and he used to tease me because I was maybe 5 or 6 years older than him.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he went to work and he had a heart attack and he transitioned.
That's right.
He
Mm-hmm.
never even made it to 50.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Age gracefully, because it's really is something, especially for us. Be grateful for your age. Be grateful
Yes.
for everything that you still retain as you age. Don't look at yourself as being an artifact. You are something to be revered, because you're still here despite everything that you went through. Don't be
Yes,
trying to
yes.
be so, like, yeah, I'm just saying, not being the guys think that they gonna stay on top of their game forever, but you don't. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You have to
Yeah.
be who you are and be okay with that because when you was young, look at that guy. He's a sugar daddy. Well, you want to be a sugar daddy? Get you somebody that you want to be committed to, and you grow together. Don't try to be something that you don't. You change. That's
Pull your starters
okay.
off the court.
That's right. You change, and be okay with that. But be in a loving relationship, and as you grow together.
Right, right. And I'm sorry for derailing. I was going to get over to JR. Back to Sharice. Sharice and I'm sorry, no, Mizell and Vernisha. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
Mizell and Vernisha. What did you think? Did you feel that Vernisha was not at all interested in going out with Mizell?
Cappuccino, cappuccino. Listen, I think, I think, listen, she exhibited quite a few signs to show that she was interested, right? First of
Mm-hmm.
all, she knew that he was there for Sharice, first of all. So technically, she didn't have no business talking to him because he was already talking to someone else. But she had it in her mind that he's
Hmm.
fair game. So he's allowed to talk to whoever he wants. And if he wants her, she was willing to still give
Hmm.
out her number because he didn't magic it out of thin air. She gave it to him
Hmm.
to continue to speak to him after their initial interaction. Now, I know you saw Crystal Exo's video where she showed the receipts of the text message between Mizell and Venetia. Did you see that? Did anybody see that? She showed
Yes,
the receipt. So the
yes.
conversation was not how Venetia said. It was actually Venetia who said, "Oh, like he said, thank. It was nice meeting you. Hopefully we can talk sometime soon." Venetia's reply was, "Tell production you want to go on a date with me." That was her straight reaction. So
Right.
it was her that
She did.
initiated it. So
Mm-hmm.
why would you do all of that if you weren't feeling the brother? You
Yeah.
did like him. You just butt hurt because not only did he kind of get seen as being a player, because that's the narrative, but also when you sat down on a date with him, he apologized and said he still wanted to get to know Sharice, not you.
Hmm.
That's why she got pissed.
Yeah. Cause she was full on flaming. Remember the scene when they set up the comeback date or the what did they call that? The when they brought people back from the past. And remember they set Vernisha up with Mizell. Do you remember the
Somebody from
look
your ex. Yeah.
Vernisha's face when Mizell when she asked Mizell the simple question, "Are you still interested in Sharice?" And what did he
He said
say?
yes. He said
And
yes.
what was the look on her face? It was like,
She
"What?"
was,
Yeah.
yep. Because listen, Venetia's main thing that she said, not only on this show, but on her own season, is you're not going to downplay me, right? So if she
Yep,
feels
yep,
like
she
you're
said
trying to
that.
downplay her connection, or you're only interested to a certain extent, but you like someone else better, any type of stuff like that, she really takes it offensively. Like it's not an ego thing. Anybody would in that situation, but how she reacts, she
Mhm,
really, like, it's the one thing that seems to set her off very quickly. You're not going to downplay me, and then that feeds into her attitude of, okay, well, you know what? Now I'm gonna go treat Tabari like this because you know. And the
mm,
thing is, I think
mm,
her and
that's
Mizell not working out is a good thing because listen, he's there for a good time, not a long time. All right.
say that
And
again. Say that twice
and
for the cheap seats.
yes, but the thing is, she is confused about what she wants. She hasn't identified whether she wants to be a traditional, a modern, um,
Yes,
whether she wants to be out late at night, or whether she talked about
right.
being a homemaker for her two daughters. She's always home. She also said this is how she is at home. She's not usually like X, Y, and Z. So she's so all over the place with what she wants. That's why I think it wouldn't have been a good idea because Mizell is just he's straight up gonna take his time, date her, maybe even more, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna work in a relationship.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I think everybody kind of sees Venetia a little bit differently than Venetia maybe perhaps sees herself.
A
Mhm.
lot different.
Yeah, and Jr. You bring up a very valid point, because I'm concerned about this too, and I don't understand it. Vernisha, is she gonna be? Does she want to, with her man, be a traditional wife and woman, or
Mhm.
does she want to be this modern woman? Does she
Mhm.
want to be some combination of the two? It's not very clear because for a long time she did very well with Jabari,
Mhm.
you know,
Exactly.
uh,
And then, like
and
she
so
said, the thing that fell apart wasn't the connection. It wasn't the attraction thing. It was the fact that he was very steadfast in and set in his ways about how he likes his woman to be,
Mhm.
and that was not what she wanted to be. That's not her.
right, right. You said it, and then I love what Derica said too. That Mizell played in Vernicia's face. She didn't like that. She was way too bothered for somebody who supposedly was so unbothered.
Mhm. Mhm.
I like your little play on words, Derica. That's true. She was way too bothered. Um, let's get back over here to the so the next scene we have set up. They set up the stage. You've got Jabari to the far left. Tabari is sitting next to Vernicia, but not noticeably close to Vernicia. So there's a little body language implied in that because they're not, hugged up on each other, right? Vernicia says, when asked if she has any regrets about how things worked out, she says that she has no regrets. She
Mhm.
explains that her lifestyle and Jabari's lifestyle just didn't align. She
Mhm.
feels that his lifestyle as a government worker is too traditional. She's a modern woman, and also he was unsure of if she would not be the CEO in the home because he believes that men are the heads of the household. Let's take Sean. What are your thoughts on Vernicia and Jabari?
Mhm.
Sean, I think we have a little bit of a lag with Sean.
Well, I think with
Mhm.
I think the thing with I don't like the way the hostess handled Jabari. I understand what he was trying to say, but I think he phrased it a little wrong. When he says, "So how you gonna be a woman?" I don't think he really meant it that way. Um, he
Okay.
knows what he wants per se, so I don't ride him that hard. I mean, and I think the hostess as well as Venetia and a lot of people that sided with the hostess and what have you try to believe that he was trying to take Vern's independence away from her being an independent woman and not let her do her thing, work her magic.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
However, I can see his point of view. Both men I think were good for Venetia, but I don't think Venetia is attracted to those kind of men. I think she likes men with a little edge to them, like Joel, like a lot Maziel. I'm gonna say Maziel, that's like you see it. But I think she's into that kind of man, not a man that's straight
Hmm.
laced, probably like Tabari and Jabari, or regimented like Jabari, that's disciplined
Yes.
and works a straight 9 to 5, come home, do it. It's kind of routine, what have you. Maybe that
Mhm.
to her that's boring. When I
Mhm.
kind of get the feeling like she
Hmm.
likes to be out and about, likes to be seen, and she
Yes.
she has this idea. I think she wants to be seen. I mean, I'm not gonna ride her clothing style choice or what have you, but you could tell definitely that she really wants to be seen. She really
Right.
wants to be
Noticed.
seen,
Noticed for
and
sure.
not just heard, but
Absolutely.
seen. Seen. Yeah, she want to be noticed. She want to be noticed, not necessarily heard, but noticed. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Very good. I like your
That's what I
explanation and
believe.
your take on that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Calvin, what do you think what's going on with Vernicia and Jabari and the whole he wants a traditional woman. they were hitting it off for so long, so well. But then when they got down to the meet the friend, and she brought her friend Liz, come to find out that he is very strong in his traditional sense. I mean, like some men are traditional, but they bend more to the modern times. They will have some flexibility.
Mhm.
When they told Jabari that he should bend, he says, I'm just not gonna bend like that. And
Mhm.
he got a little puffed up in the chest. And I think I understand what Sean is talking about. He isn't wrong because he wants what's right for him. That doesn't mean it's right for every man, but
Mhm.
what's right
Mhm.
for him. I don't knock him
Mhm.
for that. What do you think about that, Calvin?
Well, I think what makes this so profound and on the money is that you should get to know a person up close and personal before you start to talking about a long term or relationship with them. Don't just jump right into it, getting all hot and bothered. Get to know a person because after all, you have to deal with each other and you're according to your own respective needs. It's good that you sit down and state what your expectations are and what your needs are. And if I'm telling you, then you have to hear it. You know, if you want a traditional woman, then okay, I got you. I'm not that traditional woman. So don't try to make me to be over something that I'm not. If I'm not a traditional woman, then get you a traditional woman. Don't try to make me over into your image and likeness. And it works both ways. Getting to know a person is critical because they are who they are. You have to take it or leave it. Whether that's for a niece or a tomorrow. If it's what you like, it's what you like. Don't try to get me because I look good or feel good to you, but I may not be good to you because I'm not that person, you know? Don't try to put me in the position that I'm not. And then I'm not that person. You get offended, or we get divorced, and I get half your money after 6 months. Okay, so let's get to know one another up close, front, and person, and be okay with me being who I am, because I'm going to deal with you based on who you are. You know, the problem is that when you try to make somebody be something that they're not, and then you get offended about it.
Hmm. I want to ask you a question that's on the screen. Kiki brings up a very good point.
Mhm.
Just our opinions, because we don't know Vern. We never met her. We understand that. Uh, Calvin, do you feel like Vern missed out on Jabari, on a good man?
What do you mean by a good man? If he wants something that he wants to
By
be,
her not being a little bit maybe more flexible, because I kept thinking back when they had this issue pop up, I kept thinking that to me, if both of them would bend a little bit, why couldn't they meet in the middle?
but that's just it. If you're not willing to give that part of yourself, reinvent yourself, then it's not gonna work. You can be a good man for certain things, but if I want to be coming in at 1 o'clock in the morning from a meeting, gathering, and you've been in bed or been fussing because you want me to be home at 6 o'clock, then that's not happening. You want your breakfast, you want the dinner on the table, and sitting around watching TV. But at 10 o'clock, I'm out doing some power. I'm doing some stuff to empower me, and then I'm not ready to come home at 10 o'clock. I may not be ready to come home at 1 o'clock if I come home. Are you okay with that? Let's be fair.
Mm,
I'm not good for you if I'm not what you need. You know,
that's true.
that's just
I see
about
what you're
that. I'm
saying.
not good for you if I'm not what you. I may be certain things for you, but I may not be that person to give you what you want me to have. That's just a fact. When you want somebody to be
That's
something
a fact, Jack.
that they're not, and then you're disappointed because they are who they are. But you've been socialized to be who they are, and you've been socialized to be who you are. It's okay. This is not the time for us to have a commitment. Maybe down the road we can, but right now I'm not that person, and neither are you.
Good point. Good point. Let's take that over to JR. Same question, JR. What do you feel about Vernisha and Jabari?
I think they had a promising connection. I think there was an attraction there. I think she kept him around for like 4 or 5 episodes because they really hit it off. But when it came down to the meat and bones about what life would look like in a relationship, you know, I hate to say this and burst some people's bubbles out there, but if there are a lot of guys who, when they finish work, they want to cuddle up with their girl Maybe have dinner, um, just chill out and relax, and spend time with your woman. What you're probably not gonna want to do is come home and have a TV dinner by yourself, and at 11:30 when you're ready to pass out, your girl's now coming in the door. Like, you ain't gonna see each other and spend that quality time. You've got to be up the next day and at work for 9 o'clock. She, having come in late, her schedule is completely different. So where do you actually spend the time together? So yeah, the attraction may have been there, but she is not the lady for him. Even though they were amicable in the way they split, he's now got a relationship. She chose a different path. And she said if she wants to have a good time, she can still holler at him or whatever. No, you can't. He's got a girl now, so you have to go and find some other friends, because you missed out on Jabari. That is it. You missed out. You could have tried to have a relationship with someone that was genuinely feeling you, has a solid 9 to 5, which probably means a pension, has a government job. It may be regimented and boring, but at least it's stable, and you already have a connection with him where there's an attraction there. So you were basically using Tabari just to stay on the show, because you didn't end up with Jabari. That's how I see it.
True. Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I guess I had it muted. I was just talking away. I was asking the question. I was asking the question. Kiki was asking, do you all agree that what some people were saying, that Vern needs to take parts of Tabari and Jabari and mush them together? I think
Nope.
as women, we've all been there before, where we knew
And
we were
guys
dating
too, and
guys, and we'd say, if I could take these qualities from this man and mush them together with the qualities of that man, I would in fact have the perfect man for me. Do
We
Nope.
all
guys
say
ever
that.
think like that? I mean,
We
come
all
on
say
now.
that.
Tell me you
We
haven't
say
met
that.
two
We say
women.
that. We say that.
One had this over here
This
and
is
the other
Build a
had
Bear.
that over
This is
there.
Build a Bear.
Did you
Yeah.
build the
Exactly.
bear?
Mhm.
Is that what it
Listen,
is?
This is Build a
it's
Bear.
not a good idea. Like in theory, you might you say it in jest. You might say it in jest, but you're not being serious, because at the end of the day, she might have that man, that amalgamation of Tabari and Jabari, and guess what? She still ain't gonna see him, because she coming home at 11, 12 at night. So she ain't even gonna be able to spend time with that man, even if she did have him.
But you brought up a
She,
great point. I'm sorry.
yeah, isn't prepared to bend on that. She isn't prepared to compromise. So how are you on Jabari about bend, when she clearly eliminated him, because that's something that she couldn't compromise on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking, but like you said, but as Calvin said, if a person is not ready to bend, then this isn't the person for you at this point in juncture at your life. But
Exactly.
I'm not
Uh-huh.
sure when you hit your 40s. I'm not sure. Sometimes people get more rigid as they age, but I think that's probably not the best thing for us as we age to be
Nah.
so rigid if we're single and we're saying we want a mate.
Without realizing what it really, you should come to a greater awareness of not just that person, but what it is about you that makes you single, or makes you a person that will not look at yourself. Because at a certain stage, you have to be honest with yourself. Why am I in position that I take? Be transparent with yourself. Take accountability. Be responsible for it. Look at yourself. Even if you're married, what is it about you that's what is it about you that you need to grow into? Or be honest with yourself. Take ownership of yourself, because you're always looking at somebody else when you need to look at yourself as well.
That is so true, guys. This if you could see our back chat, what we're talking about privately,
Yeah.
and I've been sworn to secrecy. I made my mistake once before. I will never make it again. But these guys are chatting back in the back office. It's so hilarious.
I know. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
learning. We're learning. We're learning things we need to learn. We all are.
that's
We're in a
it.
learning mode, and we're in a learning
That's it.
mode about the importance of relation and the importance of you and the role that you consistently play.
Hmm. Okay, and
What
Mhm.
one of the ladies. Oh, go ahead, Sean, and I was going to continue on the thread. Go ahead.
I I think the thing is that that was the checkmate move was that even though they thought maybe that Jabari's ideas were antiquated or out of step with 21st century lifestyle, the
Mm-hmm.
checkmate moves when they found out Jabari has somebody in his life. And
All
I
right.
and
All
I
right.
think that's why Venetia
Mm.
said, "Well, we could actually go and hang out with him." And Venetia thought she could spin the block back,
Mhm.
because she
Nope.
literally was regretting it. I think, but when she found out he has a girl,
Yeah, I mean, I
and she
don't
was
see how she
surprised to
can
find
see
out he
that
has a
one
woman,
coming because I was looking
and,
at him.
and
I was like, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
hey,
ahead, Sean.
hey, so I don't know what this woman is. I don't know what type of woman she is, but I bet you she's at home early though.
She's
They
not on
asked him. They
11:30.
did
Okay.
ask him, was she a
I bet you
traditional
she's at
woman, and
home
he
early.
he he agreed that she was.
Exactly. And that's what you're
It's
looking
not.
for.
It's not
Yeah,
hard to find
yeah.
a traditional woman still in the South. It's not, and it's not
And that's
hard to
why
find.
I took issue with the hosts because they tried to make
Okay.
it seem like the traditional woman is down is out. Like that's
Trying to
a
make it look, yeah,
that you're not gonna find that no more. Because one of
yeah,
them even said, I didn't even think traditional women
yeah.
existed anymore. That's what she said. Of course there are. Not every woman's the same. There are different ages and different
Exactly.
stages in life. So to make a
Ages and
blanket statement
stages.
like that, she was triggered because she is not a traditional woman herself and probably doesn't know many. So she feels like it's an outdated concept. It's a caveman, Neanderthal thing for men to
Hmm.
expect a woman to be traditional. But this is why I said earlier, listen, if you want a traditional man, most men want traditional women to complement them.
Mhm.
You know, you don't really see many traditional men saying, I want a modern woman because it doesn't align with, the lifestyle you're going to have. You're not going to see each other. You're going to disagree on too many things, and you're going to be indecisive about who has the final say over what, and who does what, and who out earns more, and who deserves more respect, and who deserves the largest piece of chicken, and it's always going to
Everybody
be a back
knows the
and
head
forth.
of the household, the man gets the largest piece of chicken. Everybody knows
Right,
that.
but not everybody acknowledges the man as being the head of the household, which is why the hosts were
Oh,
triggered. The moment he
you're
said
right.
that, the man is the household. I don't. Why should I bend to my woman's will? You compromise where you can, but you don't bend to your woman's will because then you're not the leader. She is.
Mhm.
You know?
We got a question in the chat, and I know we got to get through these cards. I had said 2 hours, but I guess we'll be here for a minute. And I understand if some of you have to leave, Calvin.
Yes,
But
yes.
but this is the question, Calvin. You can start us off on this so that we get your
Mhm.
your comments on this before you leave. Um, this is specifically for the men on the panel. What advice would you give to someone like Vern moving forward, trying to find a serious mate? What advice would you give, Calvin?
Well, let's be fair. Um, Traditional. What do you mean? Tradition based upon the 50s, a tradition based upon the 80s, a traditional based upon now? Because the thing about it is that people have careers, they have desires. You in a marriage, but you're still an individual. But you
That's
still,
correct.
if you want to be in a marriage, you have to be in a marriage because it's
Mm.
about us. It's not about individualistic gain. We have to be a collective entity. And I think the biggest problem that people have now that they want to focus on themselves, but you do the relationship an immense disservice. So the things that's required, you have to be willing to give that. Communication is number one.
Hmm.
Being able to say how you feel, and we're fighting about it. You can't fight about your if you are in a commitment, you don't want to feel like you're sleeping with the enemy.
Right.
And if you
Right.
do, how long you have to cut. You can for a moment, but how long that moment is going to last is entirely up to both of you. You can be sleeping with the man and the enemy for too long, and then you break down to irreconcilable differences. You know. But even if you are being adversaries, you can work towards resolving that because the relationship cannot persevere if you're at odds with one another. You know. It's a lot of give
Mm,
and take in relationships, whether you married or committed to one another. You still should be committed to one another to bring out the best because you can bring out the good, the bad, and the ugly in a relationship. Being honest, you can bring out the best in a person or the worst. And once that person rears up, are you able to put things where they can be mediated? Or does it go from bad to worse, you know? Be honest with yourself and what you really need and what you desire and what you're willing to give. And because a relationship does not, it goes off of love. It does not go off of being um, contemptuous. It diminishes, and it's not the quality relationship that you need when your enemy is in your household. It doesn't work well. It doesn't work well. The personal space is important. Think
yes,
like you
yes.
share personal space with somebody, whether you want to or not, because you live together. You want it to be a
Mm-hmm.
cocoon or a tomb. It's up to you.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So what? So with that advice, would you give a woman in Vern's situation that wants a mate, and she's maybe meeting a lot of men that say they want a somewhat traditional wife or a traditional woman to be more nurturing, to be at home more? What specific advice would you give in that particular instance? You would say that maybe be more flexible, or what would you say?
Well, be more nurturing, be more at home more because I thought this is your home. It's not just a house.
Mm,
It's where you give significant meaning to and substance. If you don't want to give what it takes to be married or committed, don't waste a person's time or yours. You know. And next thing you know, you're 40, then you're 50, then you're 60, and you're looking at yourself and saying, "Where did all that time go?" And I'm still
Hmm.
stuck on this facade of what I need, and you really life has passed you by.
Hmm.
right.
Because you're too stuck on yourself. Because the self that when you get married or committed with somebody, the self cease to be. That's just a fact.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay, we're gonna take. Thank you for that, Calvin. Very good advice from a happily married man. Sean, we're gonna take it up to you. What advice would you give? As you saw the question that was up, basically, what advice would you give to women like Vern, who are seeking a mate and they're running across these men that say they want a more traditional woman? Is there any advice that you would offer?
Well, I think with Vern, one is what is her distance in the relationship? Now, if you look at it, from Houston to New Orleans is only about 5 hours. Uh,
Okay,
so I don't think that was a mountain to overcome.
that's what I thought.
As she told with Tilbar that him going to Mississippi was a little bit further than 5 hours. But so what is her distance she's willing to commit to? Number two, what type of man does she want? Does she want a man that's going to value her and treat her like gold and honor her as a queen as she is? Or does she want a man that's going to be in the streets, that's going to co-sign with her lifestyle, let her just do whatever she want to do, come home whenever she want to come home, what have you? What type of man does she want? She's what, 43 years young, 42, 43 years young now. I think sometimes you have to get to the point that you're not 25, not 30 anymore. You have to do better and want better for yourself. So what exactly is it that you want? And then, where can a man add value to your life that you may be deficient? Understanding that.
Mm. Amen. Amen. Thank you for that. JR, you're gonna have the final say so. Any advice the ladies are saying? What advice would you give the women who are running into men who say they want a more traditional woman?
I think if I was giving advice to Vern, I would say stay true to. No, first of all, be clear on what it is you are looking for. Then, also, as important is to be true to who you are at heart. Don't just try to follow the crowd or use buzzwords or follow social media, and this is how women should be these days, and this that they don't know. Be who you are, because at times you said that you were, the mother to your children, spending a lot of time at home, being the homemaker, all that stuff. If that's who you really are and have been for over 20 years, don't try and change it up now because of the fads you see on social media, right?
Mm.
Be real, be authentic, and that will help guide your decision as to who you're looking for in a mate. Because most people are looking for a helpmate in a relationship and not a come
Yes.
up, or not expecting someone to come up off you. But in life, you want to navigate life together in a romantic, healthy, loving, caring way with somebody, and you want those feelings to be authentic. So that comes with spending quality time with them too, getting to know them and appreciating their flaws and the good parts of their character, and kind of saying, what, I want to ride it out with you for the rest of our time together. So I think be clear on what you're looking for and who you are first of all, and everything should fall into place. If you're unclear and you're mixed up and confused about who you are in your identity, you're mixed up and confused about what you're looking for in a mate, then you're always going to end up in a situation where you have two, three, four guys presenting different things that you may be attracted to at certain points, but it's not going to have the complete, they're not going to all be in one person. It's going to be scattered between three or four different energies. And you don't even have time for that. You don't even have time for one man to come home
Mm.
to at 5. So how are you going to
Mm.
juggle three, four men trying to chase you?
Mm. We can see where JR stands. Tell him, Mr. VIP. You tell him. Okay, so thank you for that. As we move forward, Vern has decided that she had to let Tabari go because she didn't feel that he was calling or texting her enough. He seems to act like he feels that he was blindsided at the end. Do you think he was blindsided? We'll go with Sean. Do you think he was blindsided, or did she give enough clues to say that this was probably going to be the outcome?
I mean, I only heard her say it once that especially at the birthday party when he came to Zania's birthday party about him. She was trying to figure out, she wanted to text him, but she wanted to see what he was going to do the whole day, and she had not heard from him. I don't know how much space and time is in between those two shots or what have you. But I agree on Tabara's end that communication works both ways. It's the phone just doesn't work one way. You can call me just like I can call you, or
Okay.
what have you. I mean, I don't think. I mean, he could have been blindsided because I guess in his mind, I can't speak for him, but I guess he felt like they were having such a great time together. They were going, on the trolley ride, double decker bus throughout the city. They were doing things. She met his mother, and she put on a good front in front of his mother. But then to do this, hey, I mean, I think that was kind of sacred for him to share that space with her to meet his mother. Whereas everybody else had their friend, but this man has his mother and his
Right.
brother. So these
Yeah.
it's blood kin. And I think he felt very let down by that. That I mean that shows I was digging you. I'm not just gonna bring anybody for my mother's approval, what have you.
Mhm.
So I think he was very much blindsided.
Mhm.
Yeah, when you put it that way, the fact that he did bring his mother on the show, that
Mhm.
does add to
Mhm.
that side of the
Mhm.
yes, that he was blindsided. I thought I heard her say it a couple of times though at the as they got to the part where they say they're going to keep the keeper, and I thought I heard Venetia tell him on more than one occasion. Now, Jr., you can probably help me out with this. Didn't she tell him, confide in him that yes, I'm going to keep you, but I do want to hear from you more. I need more. Am I mistaken, Jr.?
I think she may have said that. But this is the problem. You're spending 10 hours together every day filming. And I'm sure you've got lives outside of the show. You got jobs, you got obligation, you got real life to deal with. So, and she's already said that she's out till late, so sometimes people can't stay up all night talking and texting like Mizell could, you know. I think that even if Tabari had uh, called her every day and done all that stuff, I think she would have enjoyed the chase. But I don't think she was feeling that guy, man. There's no closeness there. There's no nothing. I think she was doing what Kirsten was doing, which is basically just being with Tabari just for the check. Someone to keep her company on the show till it's decision time. And when it came to decision time, she quite coldly, savagely just let him know, nope, it's not going to work. And, it's time for you to leave now. And I think he was just surprised by the abruptness and the coldness that came from that. And maybe he was reading into it too much because that's not how she wants to operate. She's a pretty cut and dry type person. Listen, I don't want you here anymore. I've made my decision. It's time for you to leave. And I think he was just like, wow, you know, I first of all, you came to my apartment. I said to you, nobody really comes to my apartment like that. So that was a honor or a special privilege I gave you because I was feeling you.
Mm-hmm.
You met my mom and my brother. That's another privilege. I don't really go around introducing people to my folks like that, but I did with you. Took you on a bus tour around the city to create memories. It's something outside the box that none of the other couples did. And and she seemed to enjoy it. So I think he was kind of feeling like there was more of a connection building deep down in her mind. I feel like she already made her mind up. Yeah, I'm just going to ride it out with him until the end, and then he's got to go. She was spoiled by her connection with Tabari, with Jabari.
Jabari,
Jabari,
yeah.
he ticked more boxes.
That's why I think
You
she
know,
should have worked harder to see if she could bend more. I mean, like,
no, she ain't
at
gonna bend.
some point there's a what's that term called? There's a loss, there's a decline in your returns
Diminished returns.
thank you, diminished returns. So at some point
No, diminished returns. Yeah.
at some point as we age as women and as men,
Mm-hmm.
if you're out here in the dating world still or returning back to the dating world because of widowhood, uh, relationship didn't work out, marriage ended, divorce. At some point, there's a diminished return as we age, and even the fanciest, sexiest, cutest woman, handsomest man, there's a diminishing return. And I'm thinking, if you met, like to your point, Jr., if you meet someone that checks off 8 or 9 out of your 10 boxes, let's say, let's use that as a number, 8 or 9 boxes are ticked off, then why can't you bend on that one last box of what you want or how you perceive the relationship? Why can't you even give it a try? I mean, like, give it a try.
Because on her live, she said, why should women settle? She's obviously got this vision in her head
Ideal
that Mr.
settle.
Perfect's out there. Yeah,
Mm.
like she on her live, she said, listen, she doesn't like the way women are saying she should have chosen Jabari or Tabari or anything like that. No, they went for her because they didn't fit her ideals, and she doesn't want to settle for anything less than what she feels she deserves. Which means she's looking for someone to perfectly meet the criterias that she set. How easy is that going to be? Well, obviously it hasn't happened yet. So, I don't know how long she's prepared to wait before she wakes up and realizes that there's no Mr. Perfect. There is none. Everybody has good points and bad points in different areas. And,
Right.
like when you find someone that you have chemistry with, then you try to see how far it can go.
Oh, Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm getting thrown off. You guys, I got an ADHD brain, right? So as I'm multitasking, and thank you for the guys that are coming in. You're in the bushes. I see you, Alex. I know you're out there. But anyway, back to Tyronda. I finally understood what you were saying. You're talking about my good friend, brother Calvin over here to the left, to my left on the screen. That is his book. He is actually an author, and Calvin, she thinks you remind her of Pastor Cal from Married at First Sight, the book that's behind you. He is also an author like Pastor Cal, but unlike Pastor Cal, he really truly believes in the Holy Bible, because this Pastor Cal that we've been seeing, and you guys go over, if you haven't checked it out already, check out our video that Sean and Kimberly and I did earlier today on the latest Married at First Sight episode. We recap that, okay? I can't get these words out. They're just too tough for me. I'm sorry, JR. Back to where were we at, JR? Help me out here. My ADHD brain is about to explode, literally.
Yeah, basically, I was just saying that Vern's looking for Mr. Perfect to match her criteria, but unfortunately, he may not be out there.
Yeah.
In the amounts that she may think. Like, it's very rare to find someone that meets 100% of what you're looking for. You might find, out of the 10 things on your list, you might find someone that has 5 or 7 or 8, and it depends how much of a chance you're willing to give them, and it also depends on what those particular strengths are in, like in terms of how you prioritize what you're looking for. So, if you're looking for Mr. Perfect, someone that's gonna, first of all, not want to see you when he gets home from work. You're gonna stay out to 11:30 at night. Let's mirror it. Let's say Venetia found the exact male equivalent to how she is. Yeah, someone that's got 2
Mm-hmm.
kids,
Okay.
has a job which keeps him out to 11, 12 at night. So
Mm.
they both finishing late at night. How much time are you going to spend with each other? Not much. And if you want to be seen going to galas, going to events, going to premieres, going to clubs, all these different things, like what? That's more of a show relationship. You just want to be out in public doing lots of things instead of being at home
Mm.
working on your relationship together. So I think, you have to work out what you want.
Do you want to be an IG couple, or do you want to be a couple for real, for
You know,
real? Go ahead, Sean. Thank you for that, JR.
well, yeah, to tie in with everybody else, I think it, like I heard it in a movie, one time, Tyler Perry movie, about the 80-20. Do you want to give up the 80% unsurety for a 20% surety? I think that's the way it
Mm.
was. So, how much are
Okay.
we willing to give up? Do I want to give up this sure 20% that I have for an 80% that I don't know about? Or do I just want to risk it all and just, try to invest it, be all in, what have you? Because some people leave the 80% and go down behind the 20% that they, really don't need, what have you. Um, I think with her, Vernicia, per se, and we with her and Tabari now, I think the idea is that I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, maybe it might have been too much for him to go back and forth between Mississippi and Houston, or Mississippi and New Orleans, or what have you, or can we meet halfway, or what have you? I don't know. But that might have been a safe answer, with the one she gave him, as opposed to what she really, really thought. I don't know. Um, it's just an interesting dynamic there. I don't know what went wrong with him, other than him not texting her as often or calling her as often as she thought he should.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a whole thing, because he did seem to be surprised by that. And there was a little bit of, do you recall, Sean, there was a little bit of back and forth between Vernicia and Tabari, because she's saying that he would go for days, and he said, I never went for more than I think he said 28 or 48 hours without calling you. I never went without that period of time. And I'm thinking one of the things I thought was a
mhm.
problem from with this show early on is that these women are in New Orleans and they're not from there. so they can't get to their friends and do the things that they normally do. So they're kind of sitting there at the house twiddling their thumb, which puts a lot of pressure on the men if these women aren't self-contained. And some people, make no
Mhm.
mistake, are not self-contained. Like, I'm a person, because I grew up as an only child, I can entertain myself. I'm never bored. I don't understand when people say I'm bored. I'm like,
Mhm.
what? You're bored? What? That must be because you're boring.
Yeah.
That's why you're bored.
Yeah.
But what do you think that
Well, well,
that
well,
plays
well,
any part in it, Sean?
well, let's put it like this. I don't know. I mean, okay, how much talking are we gonna do with each other after filming 5, 10 hours a day and what have you, and then I've got to go to work, I've got to do something. I mean, because evidently the women are there on a respite. Their lives basically have stopped, and
Yep.
it's unless they're working on the laptops or what have you. But the
Yep.
men, they have to keep working. They have to do something to make a living. So I mean, I don't think
Yes.
the men are getting heavily as compensated as the women are. So I've got to juggle life while you basically here on vacation so much. You're working, but
Hmm.
it's like a work at home, remote work, what have you. And so, of course, in Tabara's defense, I'm not saying I'm Team Tabara enough or anti-Venetia, but the idea I think is that when you look at it, he said he did a radio station, a TV station, and manage a restaurant. So the brother's probably busy, 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 you know. And just because you text me at 5 minutes later, don't expect me to text you back at 5 minutes after you text me,
Mhm.
what have you. So
Right.
I don't know what her expectations of him were
Mhm.
per se. I mean, because I mean, he could have very well been busy during that time of day. People come to New Orleans for vacation during the summer. Well, I mean, of course, it wrapped up before the summertime, but New Orleans is a tourist spot. So hey, I don't know what kind of restaurant he has. I don't know what kind of radio station he runs. I don't know what kind of TV station he runs. But the idea is that he could have very well been busy. So he's not a lazy man. He seems like he's a very productive man. So,
Right. He does. He really actually does. Thank you
so
for
I mean,
that. Hmm.
I don't know.
Mhm.
So okay. We'll move forward to the next scene. Camille. We got the plus ones and the friends that came to visit. We got Camille up on stage next to Zadia. Do you guys think that Camille understood the assignment? I got two questions for you. Did Camille, as a friend, understand her assignment, and did Zadia listen to the advice given by her friend? Sean, since you're all warmed up, we'll start with you.
Then we started the back end. No, she did not understand the assignment. Well, I mean, Zadia did not listen to the advice.
Okay.
However, I understand friendships, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I think
Hmm.
Zadia's relationships will go no further than Camille's reach. Um,
Hmm.
I,
What
I,
do
I
you mean?
think there's a bit of being too much invested in Zadia's life. Camille is more invested in Zadia's life, I think, than Zadia is invested in Camille's life. Um, and I mean, I understand the dynamics of their friendship, what have you. They met each other on the set of Ready to Love, but I, you know, I
Well,
don't
I mean,
know.
but
I mean,
what
I
was
don't
the
know.
advice
I
that
don't know
was
about
given?
that.
Do you recall the advice that Camille gave her friend? She basically said that he's not ready. So
Well,
now,
she said
that being said,
she's
do
too
you
busy.
understand?
She's not ready. Yeah,
Right. So that being said, did she understand the
and
assignment?
maybe Zadia. Yeah, she understood the assignment, but maybe Zadia just heard what she wanted to hear and thinking she was going to change it. She thought she would probably
Okay.
change it for her. Hey, this man needs me in his life. So that's what I think.
Yeah, all of us women would like to think that the men really need us in their lives. I agree with you on that. And sometimes we as women don't listen. Um,
And that works
Calvin,
both ways, though.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, JR, because we'll wait. I'll see if
Yeah,
Calvin's
that
coming
that
back.
works both ways. Like us men, we also need to feel needed. Like we hear a lot of independent women, and I don't need this, and I could do bad all by myself, and all this other stuff. But you
Right,
know,
right.
like us traditional guys, in most cases, I assume want to feel like their girl, their wife, their woman has a need for them in her life, right?
Yeah.
I think Camille definitely understood the assignment. She gave some very good advice. She was able to see and listen to what Cam was saying. Zadia was blinded by, I don't know, maybe the looks or the attraction or whatever it is. But
Or the hot and heavy time, perhaps, allegedly.
yeah, that took place. Yep, the clapping of the cheeks may have blinded everything. But I think she gave her good advice. She said, to what listen, listen to what he's saying. He's saying, look, maybe in a year he'll be ready, but right now he's got his hands in so many pies. His
Mm-hmm.
focus is on is working and providing the stability for the lifestyle that he wants to live. He's not ready for a full blown relationship yet. And I do
Nope.
agree with Sean as well. I think that maybe she thought, okay, well, he says that, but I'm sure I can change that. I'm sure I can distract him a little bit and get that attention onto her. Because one of the things that I've seen personally is sometimes when you're on your grind as a guy, sometimes there are women that will come into your life that admire that grind because they want to take that focus from your grind and want you to put that same effort into them and give them that attention. Yeah. Work on her like you would focus on your grind. And unfortunately,
Ooh.
doesn't go like that. Doesn't go like that. Two different purposes. The grind is to establish yourself and be able to pay your
Yes.
bills and ability to provide
Mhm.
or
Right.
whatever. And yes, like I expect my girl to appreciate my grind, and but at the same time know that if I'm making time for her, I'm doing it because I want to spend time with her and cultivate a relationship with her as well. And I want to enjoy that process, because when I'm not working, when I'm not out in the battlefield, in the trenches, trying to work and establish myself and my career and everything, when I'm not doing that, I want to be with my girl, enjoying as much time as possible, laughing, joking, creating memories, all those
Right.
different types of things.
Hmm. Good points. Good points. Everybody's got some great points. Someone out in the audience, where is that at? Someone asked when they brought the friends on. Uh, oh, here, Mimi. You always have great comments too. Um, they brought the friends on. Where was LJ for Sharice? That was a good point. That was a good point. I don't know. Maybe it's because he was so neutral and didn't really provide
No,
any drama. We didn't really need to bring him back.
no. We
What do you
we
think,
we
JR?
we didn't see LJ because of the kiss on the lips accusations with Sharice, because we know
Oh,
that
that's
would have
the
went down
kiss.
quite
Yeah.
bad. So
Oh, I
you keep him
forgot
away from
about
everyone for
that.
that.
Tarika was okay. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
remember that was a talking point on the show, and they deliberately
yeah,
avoided tackling that
yes.
particular thing.
Thank
So
you,
no.
JR. Thank you. You got that one. That makes total sense. Calvin, I'm sorry. Did we get to you about this? About what was
I missed something
Just let
real
they could
early.
about Keith out.
Come back. What were we talking about? Zadia and Cameron. What were we talking about
no, we
exactly?
hadn't quite got to them.
Okay.
Somebody, JR, help me with my brain here. Help me where we
Yeah.
were. I got notes galore here. Where were we,
Yeah,
JR?
Camille.
no,
Camille. You was
yeah.
Oh
Camille.
yeah,
But
Camille.
Camille gave good
Camille and
advice,
Zadia.
and
Camille
yeah,
and Zadia.
Yeah.
They're talking about the reunion, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
during the reunion, did what the question that I posed was two-part question. Did Camille, who is Zadia's friend that came on the show and interviewed Cam, did she understand the assignment? A, and B, did Zadia listen to her advice?
Um, did she come? Let me see. Let me kind of go back. There's some of his career, him being spend all his energy in his career and getting himself established.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I mean, he's that's one of the pharmacists, right, Cameron?
Yeah,
Yes,
Cameron was the guy with
yeah,
the wild, the really wild hair, the
Right. And okay,
photographer,
Yeah.
okay,
pharmacist.
gotcha.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, she wants him to be committed to her, and he keeps saying he's committed to his career. And they keep going, and she keeps insisting on that, but he's really tied down with his career because he's trying to get off the ground and get established, and he's busy all the time. So she
Mm.
wants him to put the energy into her that he's putting into the career. And if he was a seasoned individual, for example, 60 years old, that's different. He's a young man getting all everything lined up for his future.
Mm-hmm.
But she's taking it back. I want you, but you have your career.
Mm.
Let's be fair. At the stage that he's in, he needs to put his energy into his career. Otherwise, it will not get off the ground like it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just establishing. He's a young man, just establishing. He needs all of his energy to go into his career. But she's so self-absorbed on her needs, it would not work because it never gets off the ground. Because how can I put 10 hours into my career, then 10 hours into you? It's not going to work.
It's not gonna
Be
work.
fair to him and his vision and be okay but the interesting thing about it is that they're establishing themselves for what their needs are. But you have to hear a person, and that works for both parties. If you're saying that my needs are this, and you're saying, "Oh, my needs are this," but it doesn't concur or go together, then it's okay. We're not. This is not the time for us to be together. As much as I would like to, this again, this is not the time. I need to put my energy into my vision. And she's saying, I have my vision too, but it doesn't overlap like it needs to. But that's okay. We're not that couple at this point in time. Maybe 5 years or maybe longer down the road, we can come together. But this is not a time for us. It's not the time. And he's told her that repeatedly over and over again, but she's not hearing it.
I'm sorry, you guys have got me cracking up with these. LJ thought he could sing.
Yeah,
They gave LJ some hush.
yeah, mhm,
You got me hollering over here.
yeah, mhm,
I think so. Well, someone said too, Liz was missing. Liz was missing from the reunion too.
mhm, yeah,
So I don't know. Maybe the budget dried up midway through. Maybe
mhm,
it dried up toward the end.
mhm,
Who knows? I don't know. Kiss and don't tell. You
yeah.
guys are a mess.
Mhm.
But so you think that Zadia she should have listened to her friend? In other words, Calvin.
It's
Is
okay.
that,
It's okay. If it
mhm.
doesn't work, it doesn't work for a reason. If she sees something that you don't want to see, then you need to see it as well.
Mm. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that, Calvin. We appreciate your response to that. Um, we have Stormy. Stormy next. We have the next scene. Stormy is up on the sofa. She's next to Ashley. Um, and it just kind of goes south real quick. Stormy gets upset and says that she didn't think that, we literally see her lips quiver, which I thought, you know, either she's a really great actress or she's really feeling some kind of way about the accusations and the narrative that she was maybe flirting with this woman, with Ashley's potential keeper, if you will. Help me out with this, Jr. What did you think about Stormy and this whole situation at the reunion?
Well, I think um, Ashley was called out earlier in the season in the episodes because she seemed to be more attentive to what the other women were wearing or what was going on with them. And in this instance with Stormy, it seemed like, I mean, I do understand why she was upset. I do. But I also think that she is still quite insecure because you can't control how your friend shows up, what she's wearing. Again, it was about what she was wearing, first of all, and then it became obviously taking the shine away from her in her moment. So I agree with the taking the shine away in her moment because it was Ashley's date with Kirsten, and Stormy is meant to just be there as a prop, so to speak. Yeah, like just give her some advice based on what she's seen from how Kirsten presents himself. That was the assignment. And as we just said, Camille seemed to do it okay. But the difference is Camille had a whole man the whole time. Camille's now engaged. So she's quite into a relationship. Stormy, from what I see, I haven't seen anything that she's in a relationship. So I think she's single. So that's why her questions seem to be more about trying to get to know Kirsten on a more personal level, which is overstepping the boundary of what you're actually meant to be there for. So I can see both sides in the situation. And Ashley is insecure. So, and she's very, she can get temperamental. So I can see why she's in her feelings. And I also understand why she felt left out. Because, like she said, it was literally a tennis match watching Stormy ask questions and Kirsten reply. And no one was really checking in on, in fact, no one checked in on what Ashley had to say at all about any situations or conversations. It was just a getting to know each other session between Stormy and Kirsten. When she left, nobody got up to follow her. I found it interesting when Stormy said that they had a conversation afterwards and Ashley didn't bring it up at all and address how she felt. So how seriously did she really take it? I think she was really upset, but didn't want to address it at that time. Chose to wait till the reunion to address it. Stormy got emotional because she said that the editing and everything portrayed her to be, a home wrecker, and she's really not. I think Stormy can dress how she wants. Ashley said she dresses over the top sometimes to look good and feel great. You can't tell someone else how to dress. So that's why Ashley's guilty of doing this twice. First with Donald, then with Stormy. You don't have that level of control. Yes, you have the power to dismiss the guys on the show, but you
Yes,
can't. This control thing goes to people's heads when they get it. You can't tell people
it
how to dress.
does.
You can't tell people how to move. You can't tell people how to do anything. You can only control what you do and how you respond to things. So I can see both sides. I can see why she felt upset. That's not going to be a nice situation to be in. But I can also see why, she should have seen that Kirsten is not into her from then. He was more into Stormy. That should have been your cue to send him home and not look back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. Did we get Sean in there? Sean, you want to jump in real quick and we're gonna move on to the next thing? Stormy and Ashley. What was your take on it? And were they really friends, as someone has said up here in the
Well,
chat?
I mean, I take yeah. I don't think they were. I don't think they were really friends. I don't think they were really. I mean, I've read some of the IG chats, and what
Hmm.
Stormy said that she said we weren't really friends like that. So I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know what the criteria were for them to be have friends on the show. I mean, I think it was just a made up friendship. I think the only authentic friendships were Zamil and Zani and Camille, and probably Sharice and LJ. That's it. But as far as Liz and Vern and Stormy, Liz and Vern and Stormy and Ashley, I think that was kind of like space fillers. Um, but
Okay.
I mean, you know, whether she was really upset about it, about the comments, what have you, that she felt like Stormy was trying to upstage her or not. I don't know. I think it could have been speaking out of insecurities. Just like you and I have spoken, Aubrey. I think that if anything, then uh, Ashley should have said, "Hey, look, this is my date, what have you." And of course, Stormy defense, she said they had been filming for over an hour, and all of this was just pieced together, what have you, to make it look like this, or what have you.
Oh,
So I
right.
don't
That we
know.
got the
I really
snippets.
don't
That they
know.
got the snippets. Because I always said
Yeah,
about
yeah,
going
we
back
got the
to
snippets. Yeah,
that Ashley should have interjected at some point. I can't understand how bubbly and over the top that
yeah.
Ashley is, why she wouldn't have interjected. So that makes more sense when you bring up the point that they actually did kind of piecemeal this together. Also, the other thing that seems odd, if Stormy was on stage at the reunion saying that they had an extensive conversation after the fact, meaning her and Ashley, why wouldn't Ashley have said,
Mhm.
hey, I didn't appreciate this, that, and the third? Why wouldn't she have told her that then instead of blindsiding her at the reunion?
Mhm. Maybe it's the ratings. Maybe, like you
Exactly.
said, they
I
did
don't
that
know.
for to have a certain effect. To give us some confrontational, um, over the top stuff for ratings. I mean, come on now. If they said that the segment was actually 41 minutes, and then you reduced it to those snippets, then what was you trying to convey or project? Did you need some drama? Did you need some Jerry Springer stuff? What was your goal?
Yeah, I that's what
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So we move on to thank you for that, Calvin and
Mhm.
Sean. Um, we move on to the part that probably we really got to spend a few minutes on, even though the time is pressing us now. But we're gonna try to get in as much
Ooh.
as we can. We get to the part where Cameron is now on the set. He
Yeah.
is sitting next to Zadia.
Hmm.
He has some gifts that he has made. He's put together a package of photographs that he shot of Zadia during that date where the men got to pick the date. So he decided that he wanted to use his skills as a photographer to capture Zadia's beauty. And so that's what he did. Um, Cameron says that he was relieved when production finally ended. Zadia repeats it back to him, but now she inserts herself and she says, "Oh, you were relieved when I left." And I want to know, did Zadia intentionally did she misread what he said? And what do you think is really going on, Sean? What's going on with Zadia and Cameron? Can you hear me, Sean?
Well, I think, like Calvin said, I think Cam is a very focused man. And yes, he could have very well been relieved that everything was over with because now he can devote his time and attention to his businesses, his endeavors, what have you. I don't know how much money he could have lost by taking time to film and what have you, and showing up when he did. And we don't know the schedules that they had to do. So I'm sure it took away from his business, his businesses, I should say, because as he said that he had people he had to interview and stuff like that. But I guess all of that had to be put on the back burner. So maybe he's a small man operation. I don't know. So that's probably what he meant when he said he was glad that it's over
He was
with.
relieved. He
Not
said he
that
was
she was out of his
relieved.
life, but the fact that I'm tired of filming now, and I can concentrate my efforts on building my empire.
Good point. Good point. Uh, I saw what you put in the chat, Sean. You're a mess. Calvin, what do you think? What are your thoughts about Zadia? Did she misread what Cameron was trying to say about him being relieved that the taping and the filming was over?
Well, again, um, he has his career to pursue, and maybe she's taken aback. She wanted to work, but it couldn't work. He wanted to work, but it couldn't work at this time as well. So, I mean, she is frustrated that it didn't materialize. So she said, "Well, I'm tired of you too." But the thing about it, I think he was not really saying he was tired of her, but he was relieved that the trying to commit to something that he just didn't have in him to do that right now was relief for him. It does not mean that he's relieved that their relationship is over, but the level of intensity of it does not have to be so intense. Then you just kind of be close and be friends and be there for one another. But trying to commit to a relationship on that level is not. This is something he can't do right now. She wants it, but it's not an opportune time for him to commit to her. So he's relieved that now he can relax and enjoy her without the sense of urgency to do it.
Okay. Okay. Good points. Good points. Jr. What are you feeling that Zadia, is she misreading and adding into more of what he's saying than what it really is?
Nah, it's intentional, and it's to make him feel guilty. It's
Mm-hmm.
a it's a it's a
Ooh.
it's a manipulation tactic, in my opinion. Like
Mm.
he said, he was happy. He felt a relief when the process was over, meaning showing up, spending all day filming, taken away from his work duties, having to juggle the his work and also his photography business and whatever else he's got going on, plus making time to see her as well,
Mm-hmm.
enough giving her enough time on top of that. I think he probably felt like it was too much going on. Maybe when he elaborated, he was like, he felt like he could do it, he could make the space and the time, but through going through the process, he realized he's not ready. So something's got to give with Cameron before he can get into a relationship with Zadia or anybody else. He has to wind down his work schedule because he doesn't have a good work life balance. So part of having that work life balance is allocating time to spend with your partner if you're looking for a relationship. And I don't think he's ready to do that. And I think Zadia basically intentionally took it there to try and guilt trip him to make him feeling bad for what he said.
Mm, yeah, yeah. You bring up a very good point that Zadia, uh, she kind of moves as if the world should revolve around her. We've seen that in her original season, and we've seen that in this show. She almost kind of like goes into tantrum mode when she doesn't get what she wants, and she's good for not listening to Cameron, because Cameron has said on multiple occasions that she should pick somebody else. You could pick somebody else. This is basically a friendship for you and I. I'm not ready for this. I mean, he said it in multiple ways. Did you hear it, JR? Did you hear him trying to basically kind of beg off with her?
Yeah, he did. And, he not only was upfront and clear with her from the get go about, not being able to make time, but like you said, he also offered her an out. He said, listen, if you are connecting with anybody else in the process, I think you should go and examine that connection because they may be able to offer you what I can't, which is the time and all of that stuff that you're looking for. Right now, he's not in a place to do that. He did say that quite a few times, but what again I think she was trying to do is say, okay, well, you say that, but you know what? You can't resist me forever. You're gonna change your mind. I'm gonna get what I want. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for her like that. You know, listen, the fact of the matter is if you want a guy who's a hardworking man, dedicated, disciplined, got stuff going for himself, working towards his goals or whatever, then the downside is he may not have the time necessary to take you to the mall and do all the things that you might want to do and stuff. You know, if you want a guy who's actually got less of a work schedule, then you may earn more than he does in a lot of cases. Not saying every case, but you got to put that work in a lot of the time to make that money and have the lifestyle that you want.
Yeah, and that is often the reason why a lot of us more mature women, more seasoned ladies will advise women of Zadia's age to date more seasoned men and not necessarily try to date a man that's par for you. And in fact, I think Cameron is actually a year or two younger than Zadia. Because Zadia, she just turned 38 or something, and Cam is only 36. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently Zadia is not planning on having a family, children of her own. It sounds like from what she said on the show. I don't know if that's just to throw people off, but uh, she wasn't listening to him. It didn't seem like she was really listening. But I got a question for you guys, kind of sort of related, but not related. What did you make of Cam's gifts to Zadia? Because a lot of people felt that he was really promoting his business on the show by giving her his artwork. We see that he had a chain on toward the latter parts of the episode that had his initials of his business. I forget what the name of it was. The streetcar. I think it was the streetcar. What did you think of that, Jr.?
Um, I think it's an opportunist move. I think if you're on a show, it's going to target an audience. Um, I think on the one hand, you could say, "Wow, like you're not there to promote your business. You're there to try and find a relationship." But he didn't outwardly say, "Listen, if you want pictures, anybody, I'm your guy. Holler at me."
No, he didn't.
Cam, no, he didn't do that. Cam, the cameraman, I'm the man that can. He didn't do anything cheesy like that. I think
Mm-hmm.
it may also have been a heartfelt gift to say, listen, I've memorialized our time together in this photo of you, and this is a gift from me to you. But that doesn't mean that you're my wifey yet. It means that I'm still busy. I like you, but I've got so much going on right now. I just can't give you the time necessary that you need. But here's a photo, of yourself, of our time together. And to be honest, she weren't feeling that picture anyway. It was a nice gesture, but she'd rather have
Hmm.
the man and the attention that she's seeking than the photograph.
Hmm.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Sean? What did you think about the promotion of his photographic business?
True.
You have to give more than a one-word answer. I'm going to start striking you like you begin to remind me of Kirsten. What's going on here? You're on TV. Come on now. What you got to say, Sean? You know I'm messing with you. Nothing to say, nothing more to add. Okay, we're gonna jump
Well,
over to
I
Calvin.
think
Calvin.
you know,
Okay.
it could have very well it could have very well been. Oh, okay. I was saying it could have very well been opportunistic with the the photo. However, I think it was sincere though, to show off his work to her, even though she did not want it. She really didn't want it. Just like she didn't want the hug that he gave her. Uh, she was to use JR's words, she was butthurt. You know, um, she felt embarrassed on national
Okay.
TV. Whether A because whether because A she's like, oh, I really wasn't listening to this man all along. This man really was saying this whole time, and I just didn't. You know, and then to answer that first question, I don't think they have the ability to self-eliminate on the show. Um, and so, I mean, because she kept bringing him around, and I guess he was like, I guess he could not tell her, look, 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 I'm too busy. Pick someone else. You need to just go and just eliminate me and just go with somebody else. I think he was there out of contractual obligation, per se. So I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Good points. Good points. Calvin, brother Calvin, what are we thinking over there?
Well, fair is fair. If I keep saying no, you want to hear yes.
Mm.
Simple as that. I keep saying no, not as the time, but you continue to want to hear yes.
Ooh.
Um,
Mhm.
be honest with yourself. He was honest with us. He knew that at some point in time he wanted to put more energy. He wanted a relationship with somebody, but the enormity of the task is a lot when you have projects that you're working and you probably just get into the stage in your life where the momentum is in your favor so far as actualizing your vision. Because you're at a stage where you're 30 something years old and you're more comfortable with yourself and confident in yourself to step out on faith. The energy it requires for your business, you already have yourself established in different little ventures and you are moving by leaps and bounds, but you realize you need somebody. But in the process of putting the energy into somebody else, your business ventures is not given the time and attention that they need because sometimes you have to strike it when it's hot. And you're trying to put all the energy into your vision, but you have somebody saying, what about me? What about me? What about me? And he's saying, what about me? But you, it's interesting because in your 30s, you realize you need more out of your,
Mhm.
you need a relationship, but if you pursue your career, can you balance the two? That's the decision that he has to make. He needs somebody. He
Mhm.
realized that in his heart of hearts, he knows that just because you have the business established and off the ground, that's not enough. You need to have somebody that's there for you, watching you grow into your vision. And you need companionship and everything to go along with it right now. But you don't need the challenge. You're not ready to commit to that person and maybe titrate your business ventures and make it a blend. Like you said, sometimes you have to give up something to get what you need. And if he's not ready to give up that part of him and set up for less to give more of him, then he's putting himself at a disadvantage too. It's not just Faris losing, he loses too. Because just the business alone don't keep you where you need to be. It's going to do for certain things, but you still need somebody. And if you put all your energy into your career and you wake up and you by yourself with no somebody significant to share with, then you have put yourself at a disadvantage. Be creative, and you're gonna have to pencil somebody. And if she's the one that's adamant about having, maybe you need to consider her. But maybe I have to work out that delicate blend that can happen work. Because you do still need somebody. That doesn't go away because she's not there. That's just a fact.
Mm. So if I could summarize it and put it in my own words and tell me, I may be missing this because I'm doing a bunch of different things and sometimes I get distracted. Are
Mhm.
you saying that Zadia really missed the mark, or that I'm sorry, that Cam uh is not?
It's missing the mark. He's
Yeah,
missing
he's
at
missing
the
the mark.
present. At this
He is
present,
not. He's not. Wait, hold on. He's not. Something that Jr. kind of pointed out earlier. There is not a good work life balance there. Is that some of what you're
that's
saying?
exactly what it is. Because even when she's gone, he's gonna say, "Oh, she's gone. But wait a minute, I still need somebody.
Oh
I don't
wow.
need to just be putting all my energy into my business for 12 hours, then come home and just have an insignificant relationship. You know, he can have
Mm.
an insignificant a relationship is what he needs. An insignificant relationship is not what you need when you're building your business. That's all. You need somebody to pour that. You need to pour your energy into somebody else at the same time you
Oh.
put it into your business. Because
Oh.
an insignificant relationship is not going to sustain you for the kind of guy that you're involved into. You need somebody that's there watching you build your business brick by brick. You know,
That's an excellent point. But let me ask you this though, Calvin. From what we just see, we don't know Zadia, we don't know Cam, but from what we've seen of Zadia in this show, because I know you may not have seen her in Ready to Love, her season. Would you say that Zadia is the kind of woman that someone like Cam could build with?
potentially, yes, because she's into him. She's not just into herself, she's into him. And she wants him, even though he keeps saying no. She's saying, I still want you. There's something about you I like. And it's something about her that he likes. He may just be
Mm,
so consumed with himself that he gonna see him see that give a little bit more. Because after all, you building your business, but it's gonna be an immense void within you if you don't have the right person there to share with.
mm. Calvin, you are preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir. That goes back to JR. I know it's getting late there. And we're not gonna be too much longer. We got
No,
about 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes to wrap this up. But JR, did you hear what
Get
Calvin was
ready to
saying?
close.
Does that go into what you were saying about that work life balance?
Yeah, absolutely. Because unfortunately, you know, when you get into a relationship, one of the things that your lady's gonna want and should want is to be with you, right?
Yes.
And if you're spending so much time at work where you don't have time, for your relationship's gonna suffer. She's gonna feel like you're neglecting her, and ultimately, there comes that time where you have to say, you know what? Okay, let me um, let me separate my work time to my home time, right? And when you're at home, just like Jabari said with Vern, like if when he's made the decision to come home and not have any side hobbies or anything else, when he comes home, it's 100% him and his woman when he gets home. And I feel like that would suit Zadia more, but Cam can't offer that. So I agree with
Mm.
Calvin.
With Calvin. Okay. Sean, do you have anything you want to throw in about this situation?
Uh, yeah, you do have to find a delicate balance between life and work. Um, However, I think that's the downside of being vision focused. Sometimes you might be so concentrated on what you have to do than to not enjoy the life around you. As the old saying goes, always working no play makes Jack a dull boy. Uh, so I think probably that as he goes along, he probably will learn that. He probably will set time aside for that. I don't know what he's trying to do. I mean, I don't know how much he's trying to amass or what have you. Um, but I think he needs, in his own admission, he said he did not understand the process that the show would take. Granted, he had to sign up for the show. I mean, I don't know how much they understand when they do sign up for the show, what's required of them. I don't know if it's step by step orientation. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to be required of you.
Hmm.
This is what we're going to do here. Then, I mean, granted, he should have the intelligence to know what he was getting into. But if it's just to present it to him as a blank statement, I don't know. Um, and then I think he kind of like took an affront to it because he had told her before that he was not going to DC, but she still was trying to get him to go to DC. Will you
Yeah,
come to
that
DC and see
part.
me in my city and so forth. And I think that's really what, like, look, I'm not trying to go to saying it without saying it. Look, I'm not trying to go to DC. I don't want to go there. I like being here in New Orleans. You should come here and be with me. So I think she was if she was bending and willing to meet him halfway, maybe like I'll move to Atlanta, you stay in New Orleans. That would have worked better than her just saying, come to DC. Then he would have to start all over again. And that would
Yeah,
throw his
and
plan
on that.
behind.
Okay, all right. So is there anything else, guys, that we want to add before I get you guys to tell us a little bit about what you guys do individually? Jr., is there anything you want to add?
Yeah. I'll just add. I think um, there were some surprises this season. I mean, early on, I was rooting for uh, Jabari and Venetia. I thought they were really going to make it.
Yes.
Um, Very early on, Donald and Ashley, and I thought, to be honest, I thought the only person that would struggle would be Charisse, and it
And
turned out
she's
to
the
be the
only one
complete
that ended up
opposite.
with a man.
Yeah, and a man in they're still dating, but
Yeah.
she's the only one that ended up with somebody, right? So I'll give her kudos for keeping, she, just like Maurice upped his game, she upped hers as well, and gave him a chance rather than sticking to those standards which may have been hard to attain. So um salute to both of them for at least being the surviving amicable couple with potential. Um, and looking forward to next week when we have the return of Ready to Love.
Yes, thank you. All the things that are singing. We're gonna go back up to the top with Sean and find out, Sean, how we can find you. I'm gonna put it on the screen, and you can just tell them if you want them to reach out to you, right? That's on IG Live.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah,
That's
it's put on the screen. You can reach me. Yeah,
go on,
go ahead.
go
Yeah,
on.
you can reach me on IG, Instagram at SANDRES. Okay, you can reach me on IG at SANDRES 1906, or you can reach me on Facebook under my first and last name, Sean Shaun, because there are many ways to spell Sean, and my last name is Stokes, Stokes. Send me a friend request. Let me know where you're from first. Like, okay, this is from Aubrey's podcast, what have you.
Yeah.
So I just don't accept any random friend requests or what have you. But I would love to converse with you. Okay, and have a great day. Thank you.
All right, all right. Now, Calvin, you gotta talk up that book because we're gonna have you back on here on my From the Heart special coming up really soon to talk about this book because somebody thought you were Pastor Calvin. That's funny. That's cute.
Nah. Well, you know what? I am an author.
Well,
I'm
hey,
a mental,
he is Calvin.
mental, mental. Thank you very much. my theme is the title of my book is Be You Transformed by the Renewal of the Mind. That's available on Amazon.com, locally in Detroit at Baker's Bookstore in God's World.
All right.
But the crux of it, um, a story of inspiration, motivational, autobiographical about overcoming yourself on your journey. Because we have immense challenges, and we're yet still growing, evolving into our greatest self. But you have to be patient and be in tune with who you really are. Um, I had mental health challenges as a young adult, and that positioned me to grow and be more introspective and be more in tune with my greatest self. A lot of times people don't deal with their feelings and emotions, but then your feelings and emotions reflect what's going on inside your head and your heart, and you cannot
Mm.
deny who you are because it's all over your face. Who you are is who you are, but knowing who you really are is the key. The thing about being in therapy is that you get used to understanding and being in tune with your greatest self. And instead of saying guys don't deal with their feelings and emotions, well, you have to. Because to be successful in therapy, you have to be embrace the process instead of ignoring it or denying it.
Yeah.
Getting out of the crisis mode is the key. And learn how to be in charge of life is what transformation and renewing of the mind is all about.
All
being
right. All right.
understanding, being understanding, and take ownership of everything that you do. You look at everybody else, but I thought you are in charge of your own self.
Did you say
You,
point those other four fingers
that's
back
right.
at
That's
yourself?
that's
I
right.
agree.
That's right.
I
You're gonna
agree.
bring your family. You're gonna bring your race. You're gonna bring your education. But that's the outer person. What's going on in your head, and your heart? That's inside you. It's inside job.
Inside job. And
So what you
I
have to
thank
be,
you for that,
yeah,
Kelvin.
that's right. That's right. You're still growing and evolving. Don't get stuck in the past. Learn from it.
Learn from it.
And that's what the book is all about, learning about the role that you actually play in your life, ongoing throughout your life. So it's about taking responsibility and being in tune with not just yourself, but your true self. That's the jet. I can't tell it all now, but it's a great book.
I
I,
wasn't sure. I said,
I
we might
know,
be
I
starting the
know,
interview tonight, but
I
we
know,
still
I
got to get
know.
JR in there. Okay. Thank you,
Sorry, I
Kelvin.
didn't take all that time, but I'm learning to be more.
He's clearly passionate
That's right.
about
That's right.
this
That's
transformation.
right.
Okay, so thank you for that, Kelvin. Let us move to
Thank
JR.
you. Thank
JR,
you. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. JR, how can people reach you out? Well, tell us a little bit about what you do over on your Instagram versus your YouTube channel. Could you tell us about that?
Well, first of all, thank you for that benediction, Calvin.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
um, yeah, my YouTube channel,
I
my
appreciate
YouTube
that for you.
channel.
Yeah.
Listen, there are some castmates who definitely
Yeah.
would do better for taking advantage of having a read of your book. That's for sure. All right. Um, yeah, my YouTube channel is mainly conversations like this around reality TV, relationships, black relationships, topics, issues, things like that. You can find
Okay.
me on JRX TV. And on Instagram, it's health, well-being, fitness, wealth, um, and I take a holistic approach to these things because they all interlink. If you don't have good relationships, largely that can spill over into other areas of your life. If you don't have your fitness to a certain level, then it can spill over into other aspects of your life. If you don't have your wealth, your finances intact, in place, or working on improving them, then that can spill over into other aspects of your life. So by tackling these things or addressing them or getting on top of them or staying in control of them, you actually will have a better quality of life and a much more um, positive and mellow approach going forward rather than trying to keep up with the Joneses and panicking about who's got what and who has not. So yeah, find me on Instagram JRX TV and YouTube JRX TV for the VIP experience that I bring.
That's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He brings that VIP. And this is a man. Could you just tell him real quick, JR, Mr. VIP, how long you've been working in that industry with the body and building up training. How long have you been doing that? Are you new to this?
No, I'm not new to it. I've been in health and fitness for over a decade, 10 years. I'm a vet.
Yeah, you're a
Um,
veteran. All right.
yeah, so health and fitness, personal training. I teach classes, boxercise, and boot camps, things like that. Also qualified sports masseuse and osteopath. So I do quite a few things, but it's not about necessarily your accomplishments; it's what you do with them. And being 10 years in the game of health and fitness, really from day one adopted a holistic approach. Like, there's no one size fits all. I can't just write Calvin a program and expect to have the same results with Aubrey or Sean. That's not how it works. It's a very much a humanistic approach. So depending on the client, depends on the requirements and what they may need to get to their goals. So yeah, spent 10 years doing that. Now I've branched off into other things as well.
Mm, right. So be sure and see him. Like we said, check him out, subscribe, go over and look at a short or a video that he has. Watch it first. Uh, like it second, and then subscribe. That way, on these YouTube streets, that actually sticks. Versus if you just go over and say, "Oh, I found the link," and then now you subscribe, but you haven't watched anything. YouTube, generally speaking, will unsubscribe you the next day. That's what they'll do.
Mm. And
Guys,
also,
oh,
also
go ahead.
check out my link in my bio. If you like, on my Instagram, there's a link in my bio
Yes.
where you can see a list of my credentials and my experience and things as well.
Oh, oh,
So if you're in, if you need an online coach, online trainer, and hit me up and we'll see what we can do around your availability.
all right, all right. Because he can train. You can train virtually. Am I? Is that correct?
Of course, yep. And you don't have to be a member of a gym. It would help if you are, but you can train from your home, your back garden, your front room, your
All
basement,
right.
wherever. As long as you have Wi-Fi, then we can work something out.
Okay, very good, very good. And don't forget to what are they supposed to do over here for my channel, JR, all the things that are thinging. Could you remind them, please?
Yep. Please like, share, and subscribe to the video, to Aubrey. Give her props for getting all of us content creators together and putting out these reviews for you that I'm sure you enjoy watching. So show your appreciation. It doesn't cost a dime. Just like, share, and subscribe. For enjoying the time.
That's right. And I would be remiss. I just have to go back two quick things real quick. Housekeeping. I want to say special thanks, and I'm sure the gentleman here will join me in this. And congratulations to Camille and Cornelius from the is that Potomac or the DC season? Potomac, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it
Yeah.
was the.
Well, from Ready to Love,
DC,
we want
DC,
to thank
DC,
them.
DC, DC.
DC. They were castmates.
Yeah.
They met and they have been ongoing for last two or 3 years, and they are now engaged. And you can go over to their IG page to check all that out, all the hoopla and everything. But they are now engaged. So I want to congratulate them. I want to say that. Um, and then I also want to say just a personal note of thank you to those of you that have reached out to me and had me in your prayers as I was kind of going through last month, which caused me to abruptly cancel some shows and some videos. But I want to thank you for returning. That means the world to me. I can't express it enough. And this is from my heart to your heart and your family to mine. I want to wish everybody a happy new year, a prosperous new year, and a healthy new year, and that's what I'll be working on. And I'll probably be talking to this guy here in the lower right hand corner to give me some more tips on how to improve my health and to recover and to be at 100% for the summer. Because there's some things that we're going to be bringing on this show. I'm not going to give them away just yet. But you're going to be very surprised. Oh, and thank you. I see the hearts. Thank you, whoever that is sending those hearts. I looked over at my phone. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. That I feel so loved. I am so touched and I am so humbled. But I want to thank each and every one of these three gentlemen that are here tonight, that have been here for the last 3+ hours, and stuck by my side and have been an encouragement to me online and offline. I reach out to them and they've all been so supportive. And I want to thank them for being the wonderful gentlemen that they are. And on that note, guys, you ready to shimmy and shake on out of here?
All right. Yeah.
Yes,
All
indeed.
right, here we go. You guys say your last
Yeah.
goodbyes.
And to before I say goodbye to Calvin and to Aubrey, congratulations to you all. The Detroit Lions have made the playoffs for
All
the
right.
first
All
time in
right.
30
All
years.
right.
Congratulations
All
to you
right.
all.
All right. All right. Good. Good.
Ooh, we never
Good.
thought we'd see
Yeah.
it in our lifetime, did we, Calvin? Thank you for
All
that.
right. All right.
And also, the Pistons managed to get a win last week, so congratulations as well.
Yeah. That's what Motown is all about.
All right, the Cowboys are in.
Motown.
And,
All right,
and we're
guys, we love
grateful.
you, and we'll
Grateful.
see you. We'll see you
One
soon. Don't
time's on the
forget to like
rebound.
the video.
Yeah.
Hey, and drop some comments in that comment section when we're off. All right. Bye
Thank
now.
you. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, and
Thank
thank
you.
everybody. God
Peace,
bless.
everybody.
God bless you
Thank
guys.
you, Calvin. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.